to the NYXUS podcast, last day of our Halloween special. Tonight we are with owner of the Hathway House of Horror, Mark.
Hey, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it is. It is very late or early for you, depending on
Mm.
how you look at it.
Uh, yeah, I'm not a big sleeper, should we say? So,
There you go.
it's 16 minutes past midnight here.
It's 7:15
So
here.
there you go. Yeah,
What's
it's all
up,
good.
Keith? Keith from the band Nightfall is with us.
Hey, Keith.
Guys, the look wasn't supposed. I had started doing the whole it makeup, the whole I was gonna come in really, and then I had a really bad reaction to the makeup, so I had to take it off. And now I just look like the fucking living dead. But hey, it fits. It fits. Hey, Matt,
Hey, Matt.
welcome. You guys get into the conversation, have fun with us. I mean, ask him questions. Let's try to get him. He knows a lot. He likes horror movies. Go ahead, introduce yourself to let these guys know who you are.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, so I'm Mark Hathway, ironically, and I own and run the Hathway House of Horror, which is a throwback. It's a written horror movie review page over on Facebook. Just myself. I upload 2 reviews a week. Could be anything at all. Old, new, requests, retrospectives. Retrospectives are the main thing I'm getting sort of a bit of traction for. I launched the page in March of this year. And yeah, it's kind of gone from strength to strength, to be honest. So it's all good. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Social media is a
Isn't it
lot of
just?
work.
I had
Yes.
no idea. I had no clue.
Let's talk horror. I mean,
Yeah, let's do it.
I am in the music world mostly with the podcast, the indie, more metal genre. So there should be a few people popping in tonight. Uh,
Okay.
I'd be surprised if the metal community doesn't show up for a horror night. That's.
Yeah, it'd be unusual, right?
Mm-hmm. So me and Keith were having a conversation on one of his posts the other day about the movie Scream.
Okay.
So the whole I don't remember how many of them there is.
7 with the latest one, I think.
There's a lot.
Maybe 6 with the latest one. Maybe 6.
There's a lot of them. What do you
Yeah.
think? What do you think of the Scream movies?
Groundbreaking at the time. Obviously the meta movie in the movie, the tearing the genre apart, if you like, and rebuilding it, which obviously we got from New Nightmare to begin with, where the toe was doubled into the water, see how the world would react to it, and Mr. Craven was away. Um, Deteriorating quality to a degree as they go on, as is very often the case. In my head, number 3 being a particular low point. I don't mind the later ones, the ones we've had in the last couple of years. They're quite fun, um, but they're never going to have the impact they did. The first one, and I think the 2 is a very good movie also.
The first one is this. This is gonna be a classic. This is gonna be
Yeah,
one
yeah.
for like
Hmm.
the plot, the everything, the actors. I mean, I'm a big Nev Campbell fan, so
Hmm.
Nightfall. Keith says 6
6, there you go. Yeah,
plus TV series
6.
because
Yeah,
yes, there is a
and
series.
a seventh on the way, set at Christmas apparently.
Oh, I mean, I'm not
So
against it.
no, no, not at all. No, it's sequels make up a lot of the industry, certainly, especially in horror. So, yeah, I'm
Yes.
all in favor of it. As long as they're done with a bit of care and pride and passion, then not a problem.
And what would you say would be your favorite horror movie
Of
of
all
all
time,
time? Of all
oh,
time.
of all time. Okay, so I've been watching horror a long time now. Been watching horror what about 38, 39 years, I guess, at this point. A long time. Nightmare on Elm Street is my go to. That was the movie where I knew I was hooked on something. Not my first. The first I saw The Exorcist 8, and that was sort of my first. Oh, this is quite fun. This is quite good. And then a couple of years later, or a few years later, I don't know, 84. I think that when Street came out, I was what 8 years old, 9 years old. So yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street sits proudly as in my as my favorite of all time. Um, I'm going to consider myself a little bit of a self-professed expert on the whole series, to be honest. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street one, the original. I know three is fantastic and it gets all the love and rightly so, but one was the one that set me on this path, if you like. So Nightmare on Elm Street for me.
The that is the scariest movies for me. That's the one that haunted me for the longest time.
I know, right? I still
Uh,
have Freddy Dreams now.
yes, and
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
bastard. He
He
always
really
is.
is.
God.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not like I'd be like they're like okay you're in a room and like there's all these serial killers and I'd
Mm.
be like okay I don't mind you I
Hmm.
don't mind you. I'd see
Hmm.
Freddy and I'd be like um damn.
Yeah, so
So
clever because you can avoid it. You can avoid going to camp. You can avoid Halloween. You can avoid getting in the ocean when there's a shark around. Everyone's got to sleep. Eventually we've all got to sleep. One,
exactly.
there you go. Yeah, one guy.
And
I think that seems to be a very similar line. Everyone loves three, but one is the one that sort of got its hooks into you.
three is the one with Johnny Depp, right?
No, that's one.
That's one.
Yeah, part one is the one I'm trying to have 1984. Introducing Johnny Depp, I believe. So
That's the one that introduced me to
yeah,
fucking Freddy. Yeah, yeah. I was afraid of water beds for the longest fucking time.
yeah. I mean, so many parts of that whole series growing up, by today's standards, a little bit lame, you could argue, but at the time, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. You know, the girl getting turned into a cockroach, for example. Now effects wise, you go, oh, it's a little bit, nah. But at the time, wow,
That's it. You have to think when the movie was made. Like,
sure,
uh, three is Dream Warrior, Lawrence Fishburne and Patricia Arquette. I
it's the
mean,
one. Yep.
those movies are incredible. What do you think of when they kind of mashed them together, like Freddy versus Jason?
I didn't mind Freddy versus Jason. I didn't mind. I knew, you go into those things knowing exactly what you're going to get and what your expectations. You lower your expectations slightly for the movie you're going to watch. So it was fun. It was probably 5, 6 years a little bit too late, but studio issues, licensing issues, etc., etc. I certainly enjoyed it a lot more than the remake. To be fair, so yeah, I don't mind a crossover again as long as something's done with the best intentions. You can't get everything right every time, but I don't. It doesn't bother me too much.
I've been having issues, Nairok. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if you still wanted to hop in with us, and I was having issues sending private messages, so it's bad tonight. If you want to hop in, I'll try to send you a message, and I'll make some room for you. Keith, same thing for you. If you want to hop in, and we can have a conversation, and we can pick Mark's brain.
Wouldn't take long. It wouldn't take long.
All right, give me a few minutes and I will send you a message, guys.
Cool.
Um, let's see. My favorite,
Mm,
a lot of my favorite movies comes from the same guy,
okay.
uh, Eli Roth.
Okay.
Uh, Green Inferno comes to mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That's an
Yeah,
interesting one. It's obviously got it's taken a lot from various other movies from years gone by, but it's a very impactful movie for sure.
I I was not expecting what came at me. Uh, I was like, okay, it's cool. I just
Mm,
sent you a message, Keith. I was like, it's cool. And then all of a sudden, I was like,
yeah, I wasn't expecting Cannibal Holocaust sort of
it,
2.0,
that,
which essentially is what you're getting.
yeah, I was like, that's kind of a little sick. But every time somebody was like, you have a good horror movie for me to watch? And I was like, what kind? Do you kind of want to be disturbed for a bit? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, Green Inferno.
That'll do it. I like Eli Roth a lot. I love Cabin Fever.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Cabin
Cabin
Fever is
Fever.
fantastic.
Boo, your
Uh,
laptop's dead. It's okay. No
no,
worries.
all good, all good. Yeah, Cabin Fever was, you know, I think that was something that sort of came out of nowhere, and yeah, the story was what it was, and it's just, but the way he filmed it and the way he put it together, and the way the characters sort of show their true colors going through that. Yeah, big fan of Cabin Fever. Green Inferno is decent. I really enjoy it. Obviously, Hostel 1 and 2 are also phenomenal.
Oh my
Not
God.
not so much 3, but I don't think he had anything to do with 3, did he? I don't think he had anything to do with
I don't.
3 other than. I don't think so.
I don't think
No,
so. There he is,
no.
Keith.
Hey, man.
Welcome, welcome. Keith is
What's up?
another
What's
big
up?
horror movie
Cool.
guy. So I mean, he would just add some more spice to the conversation.
Awesome.
Hostel. What's your opinion?
Hostel was messed up. Like I was when I saw that one kind of like when I finished it, it was one of those moments where you were like, "What the hell
Yeah.
did I just watch?" And it honestly changed some of the way that we perceive horror genre. Like it led into more films of the sort, which has now become its own little niche within
Mhm.
horror genre as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of people think Saw was responsible for torture porn, as it were, but no, it's
Nope,
Hostel.
Hostel.
Hostel launched us in. So, and he just improved on it. I think the second one's probably a better movie. Actually, it's probably better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he clearly, he's a very talented guy. I think there's no denying that for sure.
He's got a very, very his brain. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. The more crazy, the more disturbing.
He's a
That's
real
the kind of
student,
horror.
isn't he? He's a real student of the art, student
Oh
of the
yeah.
genre.
Oh yeah.
So
For
that always
sure.
helps.
He has a new one coming. I don't know if you guys saw the preview for it. It's called Thanksgiving.
Yep, I've seen the trailer. Yeah, looks a lot of fun. It does look a lot of fun. Yeah,
Another kind of
it's been a while, right? He
scream.
hasn't done anything for a while.
Let's see.
I know
Let's
he's been
see.
doing a lot of stuff for Shudder and doing a lot of interviews for AMC and doing sort of hosting and interviewing and so on. But I don't think he's put a movie out for a while.
His last movie himself was 2021 with Finn.
Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
see that one.
I have
No,
not
that's
seen that
not.
one either.
No.
And before
no.
that was 3 years, like
Yeah,
2018,
that sounds.
with
Yeah.
uh, the house with a clock in its walls. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, I know. He's done a lot of work for AMC and for Shudder, interviewing lots and lots of people. So, good work if you can get it, I'm sure. So, and then at the same time, writing and getting ready to unleash whatever was next. Yeah, big fan, big fan. In terms of people working today, I kind of drift away from the other off a little bit, but not too far. I love Ty West. I love
Okay.
the work. The work was. There's not anything Ty West makes that I won't see. X was superb. Pearl was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Like, yes, it was gory and yes, it was kind of messed up, but the man can shoot a movie. The House of the Devil, superb. The Sacrament, like, you're just biting your nails off at this Jordan the Sacrament, waiting for it to go where it's going to go. Like, in my eyes, the guy can do very little wrong, and I'm very excited for Maxine when it comes out, just to see how that trilogy pulls together.
Yeah, I'll agree with that because X. When I saw that, it actually had a couple moments where it actually got me for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
Where I actually did jump a couple of times in that movie.
Yeah.
It does not happen often.
And I love it when it happens, because if you are like a seasoned pro or a seasoned vet to this sort of stuff, you can see it coming a mile away.
Right.
But no, X got me. X had me a couple of times, and although Pearl didn't have the impact in that way, it
Right.
was so beautifully made and so well done that it
It fleshed out the characters.
Yeah, so good, so good. So Ty West, I'm high on Ty West a lot. There's not much I won't give a go though. To be honest, I don't have a perceived specific genre that I like more than another. If something's been made well and I enjoy it, then great.
What's the company that makes that? It's like A something.
A24.
A24. I knew it was They've been putting out a bunch of, like, what I feel has been decent installments in the horror world. Midsummer, for example.
Yeah.
That one was messed up.
That's another one that left me like just pondering life for a little bit.
I remember seeing it. I didn't see it in the theater, saw it at home. I put it on very late, sort of midnight-ish. Of course, it's three and a half hours. But once I've started, I have to finish it. So I'm now sat there watching it, and the elderly couple jump off the side. Spoilers, and I'm like, wow, this just upped its game quite a bit. And then by the end, I was like, I have no idea what I've just watched. That last 15 minutes is a trip.
Yes.
It's like, is it better than Hereditary? I don't know. Hereditary was very, very good. I can enjoy them both for what they are, though.
You can't compare those two.
No,
it's
no,
not the
so
same
massive
kind of
different.
movie. It's not.
No.
Midsummer's just the one that's gonna, you think it's gonna be. I was like, okay, it's gonna be horror, but it's gonna be light horror. It's gonna be, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? My brain, what the?
Yeah.
I probably sat in silence for about 10 to 15 minutes after I was done watching that one.
Yeah. I had to watch it again a couple of days later, like during the day when I was a bit more tuned, because again, sticking it on at midnight was not the smartest of moves. But yeah, I love it when stuff just sinks into you and it stays with you, because we get so horror movies are churned out at such a huge rate because they're cheap and they make money. I get it, I understand completely. So when you do find something that just gets under your skin and stays with you, and you turn it off and you go, well, that's not leaving me anytime soon. It's great. It's one of the best feelings in the world.
That's how I felt the first time I watched Hellraiser.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
The first two Hellraiser films are probably my two favorite horror films ever.
Yeah.
And I loved number 2 because that fleshed out that dimension, the hell dimension, even more. The Leviathan, the Cenobites, and I want more of that. Like, if they are to do any more of the Hellraiser stuff, I want it to flesh out all of the backstories of all of the Cenobites. Yeah.
I don't acknowledge that they need movies after that. I do. They're there, obviously, but I don't own them. I only own 1 and 2, for example. I've sat through them all for my sins, and they are sins. Let's be fair. If you've sat through I think it's 11, including the new Hulu/Disney thing.
Yeah, the Hulu one wasn't terrible.
No, not at all.
I did like it for a newer installment. I think that's probably the next best one from 1 and 2. 3 was okay. I mean, I like seeing when they delve into the hell dimension more. That's the cool thing. And I love Clive Barker's characters. And another reason why I love his movie Nightbreed. And I am so excited that they are doing a TV show based off of Nightbreed. I cannot wait for that, because his characters are so well thought out.
Yeah,
and I love it. He's cerebral, but it makes sense.
Yeah, the guy's a genius. I mean, the creator and writer first, director second. His best work probably gets directed by other people. Candyman, for example, obviously Bernard Rose directed Candyman, took it to the States because originally set in Liverpool. Here in the UK, they moved it over they gave it to Bernard Rose, and he went, right, this would really work in Chicago and Cabrini Green, and let's be fair, he wasn't wrong. The Hellraiser movies are, I think Hellraiser Revelations, which is the 9th one, may be the worst horror movie I've ever seen.
I agree.
It may be. I mean, I've just finished the Candyman retrospective on my page, and 2 and 3 are terrible. They're awful films.
Right.
2 is bad. Farewell to the Flesh is bad. 3, Day of the Dead or Dawn of the Dead are horrendous. I still think Revelations may be worse.
Yeah. It sucks too, because that was my favorite franchise, and so many of the installments afterward, the Bloodlines, the one in space, why do they keep wanting to go to space?
I know. Everyone but Freddy and Michael have been to space, right? Everyone, literally everyone's been apart from those two. It's only a matter of time. It is a shame. It's just terrible.
The only one that I could stomach was the one in the mid 2000s, which was Hellworld, which was the girl from Vikings. Henry Cavill was in it. That one was okay.
That was the meta one, wasn't it? The gamer one. The one with Lance Henriksen.
It was the gamer one. The gamer one.
That's right. No, I don't think any horror icon has been done dirtier than Pinhead.
Yep.
You know, you can talk about Freddy's Dead, and you can talk about Jason Goes to Hell and Halloween Resurrection, and they're all terrible, but no one has been done consecutively bad as badly as Pinhead. No,
Yep.
none of them. You know, for sure. Even the leather, even Leatherface, even the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies are indifferent, shall we say? It's probably a nice way to put it. Although I love Next Generation in a purely it's terrible, but I enjoy it way. Because it's Matthew McConaughey just goes full on Nicolas Cage for an hour and 40 minutes, and it's hilarious. So not for a second am I going to say it's a good movie, but I get a lot of fun from it's a guilty pleasure for sure. But yeah, Pinhead has been dealt a really bad hand. I mean, even once Doug Bradley was like, "No, I'm out," it must have been bad because that man was not getting paid a lot of money prior. He wasn't in demand as much as you may think, and to actually turn down work in a role that he can do literally with his eyes closed because it was that bad, kind of says it all, really.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you don't want to do
Poor
it,
Doug.
like,
No, exactly. So, um, but yeah, I cover everything. I cover anything and everything. So, I guess what makes it a little bit different is my scoring system. My scoring system's a bit different to a lot of the way things work. So I take something from the movie, and that becomes my scoring bar. So it's a bit more, I'm not say personal, but inventive, I guess. So, for example, I put up my review of Stakeland earlier today. I don't know if you guys have seen Stakeland. It's phenomenal. It
I haven't
is
seen it.
it is for many people the best vampire movie ever made.
Okay.
For me, it sits firmly at second behind Near Dark. Um, but so there's an area in Stakeland called New Eden. So I put my review up, and so to give you an idea of how it works, my review was Stateland's phenomenal, etc., etc. There are reasons why, and gets 4.5 roads to New England out of 5. So there you go. Yeah. So superb. It's a fantastic vampire movie. 2010, I believe. The main actor Nick Damanti was also the writer. His writing partner directed it. Like it's really one of those movies that's a pride and passion project for two guys that know what they're doing. The review for the sequel, which came 6 years later, will be out next week. It's not as good. It isn't, but it's still a great movie. The weird thing there is that it was funded by the Sci-Fi Network. I don't know what I like to try
Okay.
and dig in and find out how much these movies cost and what they made and where and so on. Things that you got no chance. I've no idea. The Sci-Fi Network gave them the money for it in 2016, and it went direct to there. I recently did a few of the Puppet Master movies. Again, no idea. Couldn't tell you what they made or where because they were made in an era where you picked them up based on the cover box in Blockbuster on a Friday. you know, God bless those days.
I, I miss those days sometimes.
I do. I miss those
I
days.
used to work for them. That was
Did you
one
really?
of yeah. That when I worked through college, I worked for Blockbuster.
Wow. And it's difficult now, right? I am a sucker for physical media still. I buy Blu-rays. I don't buy DVDs admittedly, but I buy Blu-rays. But a lot of people don't even do that now. They YouTube obviously you can buy and have a library and iTunes and whatever else, and Amazon. Yeah, I'm a physical media guy. I still love having stuff come through. I like we don't get you guys are lucky because here we get a lot of Blu-rays that are out of print. Don't get them anymore. So my copy of Nightbreed, for example, which is the extended director's cut, is Spanish. I had to get a Spanish import, and then you just change the audio when it arrives. It's been out of print here for about 20 years.
Okay.
This week I had a delivery come through, and it was Amityville 2: The Possession.
Oh wow.
Again, out of stock, out of print in the UK for 20 plus years. I got it from Germany. So it's the same thing. It's exactly the same. All the titles on the box are obviously in German, and then when you put it in, it just asks you. You just go into the audio
Change
selection and pick
language.
English. Yeah, but we don't. You'd be amazed. Like there's so many Blu-rays that are just out of print here that we just don't get. Um, it's really frustrating at times, but there's ways and means. You get to know people on the internet and eBay and so on, and before you know it, as I say, someone's dropped in the German import of Amityville 2, which is better than the original, by the way, to through your door for your letterbox. Um, so yeah, I am a fan of physical media. I'm never not going to be
Same.
that guy. There's something about it, right? You open it, you click it, it's like, as opposed to just click and you're away. So yeah,
Yeah,
deal
and
with this.
even if you watch it, well, I watch them on Netflix. Yeah, but at one point Netflix rotates the
Yep.
movies out, and then you don't have it anymore. I know. I prefer
Yep.
having, as much as I can, prefer having physical copies. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
let's see what you guys think of. Yeah, behind me, it's a
Mine are all
wall.
I've
upstairs,
got
admittedly.
physical media. I've got an entire library here, guys, of toys, DVDs, books, all of it.
I'm in my living room at the moment. We've got a layer upstairs, and I've got masks and signed stuff and X amount of Funko Pops and the collect, my Blu-rays and so on. But it's all upstairs. I'll get some pictures and send them over. It's my little pride and joy, my little room. But yeah, I'm in the living room at the moment, so um, yeah,
Yeah, it's always nice to have physical stuff
it
to
is. I agree.
Yep.
keep and I don't have it anymore, unfortunately. Like I said yesterday, I lost I lost some of my stuff, well, all of my stuff pretty much, back in Canada, and my signed picture from Captain Spaulding, House of a
Wow.
Thousand Corpses, is gone, and it was written to Mel, shit the bed, and
Wow.
yes, yes,
No, that's
yes,
that's terrible, and you can't get another one now.
nope.
No.
No, and he, those movies. I mean, Rob Zombie for me is when he did House of a Thousand Corpses and with Devil's Rejects. I mean, those two were just
Yeah.
they blew my fucking mind.
I mean, you could tell he was a fan of the genre by the way he handled himself with House of a Thousand Corpses. Even his remake of Halloween. I won't. Halloween 2 was mad, but his remake of Halloween, I really enjoyed the cerebral side that he got with Michael Myers as a child. Like, I loved
Hmm.
that. I thought that was brilliant. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah, if you're gonna remake something, certainly something like that, you want to put your own spin on it. No one wants to see
right,
shot for shot. I mean, we had that with Psycho, and it was horrendous.
right.
Um, not the biggest fan of the second one. The White Horse was a bit much for me. I understand why he did it. I understand that you want to really make it his own, but Hobo Michael without a mask is not my
Yeah.
Michael. I'll be
Yep.
honest. But it's not bad. I mean, it's not a bad made movie. Like, the guy can shoot a movie. Let's be fair. You know, Free from Hell was kind of unnecessary, but it was fun. Like, you know,
It was
I don't
yeah,
It
know.
kind of just
fun.
closed the movie. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was just because he
yeah,
wanted to give it closure.
yeah,
Well,
You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
but let's be real. Most horror franchises start basically coming as a trilogy, right? And I feel like he
yeah. Sure.
was. I almost feel like he was trying to like almost nod to like all of the major franchises from the '80s before they started going above and beyond
Yeah,
with
I
the
think,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
and I
Yes.
think the thing is as well, we all have to keep the lights on. Someone offers you X amount of money to do something, you go, well, I've got bills to pay. We all got bills to pay,
Yep.
so everyone makes something that they go, well, I probably shouldn't have, but I paid for X. So, um, I think his best movie, House of Those Corpses and Devil's Rejects, stand alone. But after that, I think his best movie is probably 31.
Yes.
Oh yes, 31 is
31's a
another
great
good one.
movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Lords of Salem's a trip, to say the least. But
Lord of
what's go-
Salem is one of my favorite.
Yeah,
Sherry Moon Zombie in that one is more than just baby, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Just
yeah,
blonde,
yeah.
ditzy serial killer. She's like,
Yeah.
She's listen. She's talented. She's underrated. People don't give her enough credit. They really
Do you
don't.
know the problem is she only does those movies.
I know.
If she worked elsewhere and did other things, and we could see her in, I'm not saying she should go and do a rom com or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, but go and work for a different director. Go and work for
well,
go and work for Eli Roth. Go and work for Ty West. Go and work for I don't know whoever. Um, but obviously the fact is they obviously work together. She's his muse, I believe, is the
Yep.
words he uses. So,
absolutely.
and that's awesome. Don't get me wrong, that's amazing. But I think she wouldn't get as much grief or as much of a hard time if she worked for other directors.
Yeah, I agree.
occasionally.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
So
But I mean, I am a big fan of hers, so
mm,
I'm always like, oh, Rob Zombie made a movie. Is Sherry Moon Zombie in
of
it?
course,
Of course she is.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
He works with the same 10 people, doesn't he?
yep.
Pretty much every
Yep.
movie. Pretty much, you get the odd one or
I'm
two drop in, but um,
Something works. Why do you want to
yeah.
change it?
I mean, 31 is. I think 31's great, but what carries it just above everything else, the other two aside, is Richard Brake. Richard Brake's monologue at the beginning of 31 in a more recognizable, well-funded movie. You'd be talking Oscar. The guy is phenomenal, but it's a low-budget Rob Zombie horror, movie, and it's set in a grimy hotel, and he's in the middle of, doing this thing, but that guy's monologue in that movie is unreal. And his portrayal of Doomhead the whole way through, terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And again, he works with him as much as he can, and obviously Sherry Moon, and who doesn't want to see Bill Moseley in everything all the time?
Right?
Why would you not? Well, with the
Well,
exception of Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, because nobody wants to see that.
there you go.
There you go. Yeah,
There's 31.
yeah, 31's a great movie.
See, we love it when we do this.
Look at how all the pictures.
That's how good it is. Most of it's missing.
Yep.
Graphic
graphic
that
content.
it's.
That means it's good. Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a great movie, in fact.
Very good movie.
I don't know what he's gonna do next. He's been saying he's gonna hang up the camera for a while now, but we shall see. I think once it's in your blood, it's in your blood, isn't it?
He's gonna get the itch again.
Well, that's the last one. The last one he did was the remake of.
Oh, the Monsters.
Yes.
Did the Monsters, didn't he?
Monsters. Yes.
Apparently, he still wants to make the Groucho Marx biop, starring Sherry Zombie, I'm sure, as Groucho, which would be hilarious. Can you imagine? A jest, of course. But no, he's a very talented guy, and he's one of us. He
Yeah.
loves the genre.
Exactly.
I was born in Massachusetts, and that's where he's from. He's from, I believe, Haverhill, and I've worked in the music industry out there, and I've done shows where I've worked with Brothers Fighter and stuff like that. I've seen him, in Salem on Halloween and stuff, Rob Zombie and stuff like. And one thing that he jumps in with the fans too when he's not on stage. That's one thing that I absolutely love about him is he's extremely down to earth. Sherry's the same way. And they go and they strike up conversations like, they're your best friends when they're not on the clock doing the music, doing the movie stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's another thing that I absolutely adore about him is that he seems scary. But then when you actually get in front of him, he's actually really short, number one. But he's also extremely kind to everybody, which is you don't expect that looking the way that he does. Right?
That's most of the metal guys.
That's
though,
it's
'cause
true though. Yeah, it's
I
true.
went to some concerts too, and I was like, big man, like big beards, and the metal as fuck, and then. Hi, I have a podcast. Oh, sure, we'd love to be there. And I'm like, oh, you guys are so nice. They're like, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Like-
The horror community is one of the kindest, most giving, just genre, communities on the planet.
Yeah.
You go to a horror con or a horror show, you may go on your own. You're gonna leave with friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's just because if you love something as much as we do, and it is as messed up as it can be at times, you've already you've already had the icebreaker because you're there.
Yeah.
You've already. It's not. There's nothing to talk about. You're in a room full of people that care about something as deeply as you do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's
absolutely.
and that's how I got started to a degree. I was writing for just random Facebook pages, and I was putting up mini reviews, not as into the extent they are at the moment, just snapshots to a degree, and it was gathering a bit of pace. And the main page was a page called the Graveyard of Terror, and they were very supportive. And it got to the point where I was putting up sort of 2 posters a week saying, guys, what would you rather? Which one would you like me to review? And I was getting huge numbers of interaction, like these really good numbers. I thought, well, maybe I should take this to the next step. And the Hathway House of Horror was born from that, really. Um, so yeah, if it wasn't for horror communities and the kind words and the honest reaction to the work, I'm probably not sat here. And to be honest, because a lot of people are like, "This is great. This is brilliant. We don't, you cover it in so much detail. You've put your spin on it. You do this, you do that, and I've never heard of this movie, and now I'm gonna go and find it, and etc. etc. So, um, you sit down with someone who's never seen sort of The City of the Living Dead, for example, and go, "Watch this, you're gonna love it," and they go, "But isn't it like 30 years old?" Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just watch it. You're gonna love it, and then they go, "You were right. I loved it." Yeah,
There's
there you go.
classic movies. There's
Yeah,
classic.
yeah,
Uh, let's see. Zombie is a huge genre in horror movie.
it is.
Whether
It
it
is.
be, Zombieland, to any kind of, and then
Mm-hmm.
Train to Busan. You guys have
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
It's a great
that's
one.
that's a pretty epic zombie movie. Like
Yes.
the in the latest ones, like in these recent years,
Yeah.
like Night of the Living Dead and all these
Yeah.
great, previous movies. You can't compare to the classics.
No,
But
no. For me, zombie wise, 28 Days Later sits firmly at the top.
I was about to
Um,
say the same thing.
yeah, and it's I know it's. I love Danny Boyle. I'm a huge fan of Danny Boyle. Anything Danny Boyle makes, I'll watch, horror or not. Doesn't make enough horror for me because the man's a genius. But 28 Days Later sits firmly up. I mean, everyone gives Zack Snyder props for fast, scary zombies from the Dawn of the Dead remake, and they are. But Danny Boyle did it like 18 months earlier, and
Yeah.
everyone seems to kind of
It
forget
was
that
like
at times.
rage zombies.
Yeah, the rage zombies. Yeah, are they really zombies? They are to me. So there you go. And even the sequel's decent. I thought 28
Yeah,
Weeks Later was decent.
I
Obviously
love that.
doesn't. Yeah, they replaced the tension and dread with gore. That's fine. If you're not Danny Boyle, don't try to be. But yeah, 28
I
Weeks Later is
I,
is
I
decent
kind of
enough.
want to see it turn into a trilogy and have them do 28 years later.
I'm with it. 28 months, 28 years. I'm down with it as long as Danny Boyle makes it. I mean,
Right,
that
right.
that that would really just that would sort of that would make the whole thing complete. But zombie wise, yeah, 28 Days Later for me sits firmly at the top of the tree. Um,
I also fell in love with this newer one that is a little bit more cerebral. And it's more of like the fungus based kind of like The Last of Us idea, and it's called the Girl with All the Gifts.
yes, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
I absolutely adored that. It was a fresh take on the zombie world, and it
really
was
good.
really
Yeah,
good.
really great
I
movie.
don't want to cut you guys off, but my dog got into something and he's not doing too well right now. He's okay, but
Okay,
I got to tend to a situation. So please carry on the conversation. You guys are, I
okay,
mean, you
We
don't
can do
need
it.
me. Go ahead.
we've got it. We'll take it from here.
All right, do it, guys. They're hijacking the NYXUS podcast, guys. I know that.
Replicate. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, it's The Girl with the Gifts is a really intelligent zombie movie.
Yep.
And that's not a sentence you say very often, it just isn't, but it really is. Um, when did I see it? I didn't see it immediately. I probably saw it like a year ago. I think it was on
Yeah.
Shutter over here
Right.
eventually, because our Shutter kind of sucks compared to the States version. At time, not all the time. Sometimes some months are fine. Other months you're looking to go new on Shutter this month. There'll be like 3 things, and on the States there'll be like 30 things. Okay,
Right.
fair enough. But yeah, really good, really good. A really intelligent sort of crafted, make you think about things zombie movie.
Right.
You know,
It just it, they just did a good job with that. And even the character development, they don't
yep,
give you a ton, but they give you enough for the duration of that film to really care about the
yeah,
characters too. That
yeah,
was
yeah.
the other thing. I wasn't expecting to care so much about the characters in a zombie film as I did with that movie.
That's how I felt about Train to Busan.
Yeah.
I came out of Train to Busan going, man, that hurt. Like, that was hard work. No, you get your good. I'm not a gore hand as such, but I enjoy a bit of gore. We all do. But to come out of something and go that sort of, like I said earlier, that hit me. That stuck with me. That I cared about these characters
Right.
in horror. That's not easy to do. You know, especially when the market is flooded with so much. of
Yeah.
various things, left, right, and center, and on demand, and so on and so forth. So, when you find these little gems that really hit home, they need to be sort of applauded and shouted about. And the girl with all the gifts certainly fits the bill. Um, it's been a good few years, I think. It's been a good few years for horror, to be honest. I know a few picks and troughs and so on as we do, and as these things happen. But I think on the whole, it's been a pretty good couple of years. There's
I
always
agree.
really good stuff around if you can find it. Not necessarily in the theater.
A newer one that just came out that my wife is also a huge horror nut,
Oh,
so
okay.
that helps because she finds stuff that I wouldn't normally catch on my own. She's like, "Hey, you should check this one out." She turned me on to one called Barbarian.
Yes,
Holy crap!
I know. I reviewed it as part of I la towards the end of the year. Sorry, towards the middle of the year this year. I did because I've done a lot of I did a lot of retrospectives. I've done a lot of older stuff, a lot of requests, and I was like, I need to like bring it up to date a little bit. So I did some of the best films from I did like 3 or 4 of the best movies from last year, and that included Barbarian. Um, just takes you to this strange place you don't see coming
Yeah,
at all. You know,
there were some twists and turns in that one where I was like, "Holy what?"
yeah, yeah.
If you guys have not seen it, for those watching, if you have not seen Barbarian and you want to have a little bit of, let's face it, it's a mind fuck. If you want to have a little bit of a mind fuck, Barbarian is definitely the movie to watch.
It's incredibly clever.
Yeah.
The irony of it is that over here in the UK, it streams on the Disney Plus network because we don't get Hulu. We don't get Hulu here.
Oh.
So Prey and Barbarian, Fresh, The Menu,
Really?
so on and so forth. All these movies stream on Disney Plus.
Man, I
which
want the UK version of Disney Plus right now.
Right?
Good stuff. There's some half-sided stuff in there, but yeah, we don't get Hulu, so
Yeah.
they obviously have to you either buy it via like I saw Hellraiser 2022 via Amazon. Had to pay for it on Amazon.
Yeah.
Prey, like I say, Prey, Barbarian. Trying to think a few other things as well have gone on to Fresh, as I say. All those things are on the Disney network, on the Disney Plus streaming service here, which is hilarious. To be fair,
it was pointed out to me, and I thought this was hilarious when the Disney Fox acquisition happened. It was absolutely hilarious to me that people were stating that the alien queen from that franchise is now a Disney princess.
I know, it's true. I know, and we have an alien movie coming, don't we? We have a Fede Alvarez alien movie coming, I believe.
I'm hoping it's good.
Cool.
I thoroughly enjoy that franchise, except for Alien. Well, Alien Resurrection is actually not a bad film, except for like the last 20 minutes where the hybrid thing comes out, and then the whole thing is ruined.
Yeah. I mean, Alien is my second favorite movie of all time, across any genre.
Did you say Alien or Aliens?
Alien.
Alien. Okay.
Alien. Yeah. Ridley Scott rules. Ridley Scott used to rule. Yeah. So Alien is. I mean, as much as Aliens is superb, Alien sits firmly in my top 5 movies of any genre.
Yeah.
Of all time. So that film
probably
is
one of my favorite sci-fi franchises. Probably like top 3 favorite sci-fi franchises that ever came out.
That initial movie is so claustrophobic and so just the dread, which is what a horror movie should kind of have, is some dread running through it.
Well, I thought John Hurt was the first time I watched it. I thought John Hurt was going to be okay after the thing attached to its face, and then when the alien popped out of his chest, I was horrified.
And the thing is, John Hurt was a name as well, so you go, well, John Hurt's going to be okay, Tom Skerritt's going to be okay. These are names. These are people we know. Yaphet Kotto was a Bond villain. He'll be fine.
Right. Ian Holm. I mean, you had everybody in there.
Yeah, nobody's fine in that movie. I think the only person in that movie I'd only ever seen once since, I think probably maybe not true, is Veronica Cartwright. And she was in the 78 version of Body Snatchers, which is obviously the best version. So I remember seeing her in that and something else that was horror related. Oh, The Witches of Eastwick, I think it might have been. Jack Nicholson, Cher, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yep, good film.
It's a good film. It's like a horror comedy from the 80s, has its moments. Susan Sarandon, I think, as well. I think she's in that. But otherwise, I haven't seen her in anything. You know, Tom Skerritt, you think Top Gun, Poltergeist 3, sadly. And, you know, Sigourney Weaver is Sigourney Weaver, and so on and so forth. But, yeah, Alien, to this day, is still... It still sucks you in, you know, the steam, the pipes, the creaking of the ship. Superb.
No, they
Absolutely
did it,
superb.
and they did a great job tying back the original with Prometheus, and I love Prometheus. I really did love Prometheus.
Yeah, yeah.
Alien Covenant was okay. Like it was
It
okay.
felt like filler. It felt like filler a little bit to me. It was just like, well, we need to keep the franchise alive.
Right.
It wasn't quite sticking a guy on a boat to New York with a hockey mask just to keep the name alive, but it was their version of it.
That movie was terrible. Oh my god. For those of you who don't know, that is Jason Takes Manhattan.
Jason Takes a Boat to Manhattan, I think you'll find it's called. Because the last like 10 minutes they're in Manhattan, the rest of it's just Jason on a boat.
So now you've got me curious. So for the Friday the 13th movies, which is your favorite of those?
Oh, it's close. It's normally, depending on what day you ask me, it could change. But it's only ever going to change between 4 and 6.
Yep.
Jason Lives and the final chapter. It's only ever going to be those two.
So my favorite 3 movies in that entire 12 films that he has is 4, 5, and 6. I love the Tommy trilogy.
The Tommy Jarvis trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't all these movies from that era, all these iconic such, they've all got their built-in trilogies, haven't they? You know, Nightmare on Elm Street has 3, 4, and 5. Loosely, kind of, you know, Lisa Wilcox being the binding element. Obviously, you've got the Cult of Thorn trilogy running through Halloween. So it's funny how they sort of do this. But yeah, depending on what mood I'm in, it's only ever going to be 4 or 6. It's never going to be the final chapter or Jason Lives.
I just recently rewatched all of them during the month actually, and it still holds up. 4 is my favorite. Like I think that's the best one.
Yeah.
That's just my preference. And
It's unusual.
Corey Feldman put up a pretty good performance in that too, especially at the end.
Yeah, for sure. It's unusual, isn't it? Because Friday the 13th is the standalone, because it's the one franchise where the original is not even close to the best.
Right.
Which is, it is what it is, of course. But even 2, I love Burlap Sack Jason. That's a lot scarier than a guy in a hockey mask.
Yes, it is.
It is. You know, it just, in my opinion, obviously. But 2, I think 2 is decent enough. But yeah, 4 and 6, where 4 and 6 felt like they knew what they were making, and they were happy to be making it, and they weren't ashamed of what they were doing. You know, it was popcorn. Like 6 is full on popcorn entertainment, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
We're just having horror movie conversation.
Yeah.
Well, the boys are leading.
Yeah.
we're totally geeking out.
We've literally just taken over the show for the evening.
I do not mind at all. You guys, this is my 6th day in a row doing an episode, like the
Oh, you must be exhausted.
The 5th one of the Halloween special. So I'm like, yeah, I'm happy you guys are just talking. I'm like,
all good.
I agree. I agree.
Literally could chat horror all day and night. You know, it doesn't pay the bills, but I wish it did.
Yeah.
Right? It's why we're here. And when I saw Keith there, I was like, how about you come on? Because I know he loves a good horror movie. So,
Yep.
What do you guys think of the best Scream Queen?
Ooh, that's a good
Scream
question.
Queen. So Scream Queen or Final Girl? Which way are we? Scream Queen we're going with.
Yeah.
That's difficult.
My instinct immediately goes after Jamie Lee, man. Like,
yeah. I'll tell you who had this sounds so bad, but who was phenomenal and had a great set of lungs on her was Barbara Crampton. Barbara Crampton in Reanimator. That one was screaming her heart out. You know. So Barbara Crampton.
No, that's a good call out.
I
didn't even think about Reanimator, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So maybe Barbara Crampton for me. Final Girl wise, then obviously it will probably be Jamie Lee. Although Sigourney Weaver, Ripley
Yeah.
versus Laurie would be interesting.
The final girl was also like Heather Langenkamp.
Yes, yeah, Langenkamp, yeah.
That's another good
Um,
final girl.
well, and Nev Campbell, to be fair.
Yes,
Nev
absolutely.
Campbell's made a really good final girl. Sidney Prescott's badass.
Yes.
She is.
You know?
I wish she had been in this last one. I'm hoping that with the final one of this new trilogy, she'll come back and be some kind of pivotal moment.
I haven't
Honestly-
read anything to say she is, admittedly, but it would be cool if she did.
Honestly, it would be really nifty if, I mean, I know this is just completely cliche. It would be really nifty if she ended up like being the killer in the final one, and that's how she dies.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be good
Yeah.
with that. She finally breaks.
Yeah.
She finally has that
Yeah.
psychotic crack.
I'd be good
Yeah.
with that. Yep. Yeah, I didn't mind the latest one. I thought it was okay. It was a little bit cheesy at times, and yeah, there's
Mike
no
says-
way they got
The one from the
the best one.
Texas Chainsaw.
Oh, okay. That's gonna drive me nuts now, 'cause I'm normally pretty good with names and stuff. Sally Hardestein.
There we go. I am not good with names.
I was gonna say that one's all you. I don't remember.
I could have literally said anything, couldn't I?
I
I'm
was
pretty sure
looking
it's
it
Sally
up, so I mean, you know.
I think it's Sally Hardestein, unless that was a character's name.
Yeah, I'm trying to rack my brain of all, because I mean, with all the movies that I've seen, I've heard a lot of screams.
It is Sally Hardestein.
Was it
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Time to
Good call.
show my worth. Anyone catch that?
Dylan Snipe.
Yes, yeah, I liked it. I thought it was fun. It was.
What?
It's a fan film, starring Mika Hughes as Dylan as an adult, and Freddie comes back. It's like 25 minutes on YouTube. It was I don't know if it was Indiegogo or a fan. Funded
Freddie
thing.
scares. He still scares me too much.
He's
trying
good.
to-
The guy.
I know what I'm doing right after this.
It's good, honestly. It's like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
The guy who plays Freddy's decent, but Mickey Hughes is he's a grown man now and he's good. And Rex turns up for a little cameo. It's decent.
That guy was no Robert.
Yeah,
Englund.
I agree. He wasn't bad at all.
Nobody is gonna beat Robert Englund. Sorry.
Yeah,
You guys see the latest Exorcist?
I've not seen it yet.
Supposedly, what Reagan has a cameo. She appears in it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so specific. So the first time I ever saw The Exorcist was when I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and
I was 8. It was my first movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first horror movie that I ever seen in my life, and it gave me nightmares for like a month, 2 months. No, not gonna lie. So I kind of, as an adult, I fell even more in love with that film because of the fact that it had such an impact on me as a child. So I'm really critical about any of the other Exorcist movies.
Yeah.
From
I've
the
heard
original.
that things about it does not hold up to the first one. I mean, the first one, for the time it came out, for people that are of faith, people that have that faith. Hold on a second, please. Stop screaming at me. Thank you. For people that are, Catholic, that are Christian, this movie is scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thing is what it is, well, so if you're a horror fan, you've seen The Omen, you've seen Carrie, you've seen
Yes.
whatever the case may be. But if you're a non-horror person, you've probably still seen The Exorcist. If you've got religious beliefs, or the horror fans have seen it because we laugh it up. It is, that's what we do. But it's the non-horror fans that watch it and go, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'm in some sort of pain here, physically and emotionally now after watching that." And then you go and watch The Heretic, which gives you a whole different type of physical pain, and because it was quite literally ridiculous.
My first horror movie was Poltergeist.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a good
fantastic. Not a single death in that movie.
It's still scary as
And
Oh,
the
yeah.
fact- And the fact that they were, I was gonna say the fact that they were able to scare people as much as they did and not have a death in the movie.
I know, right? Says it all. Yep, says it all.
I'm sort of picky because I grew up on the classics where little to no
Okay.
CGI. Yeah, Well, I mean,
Yeah.
But
it's
let's talk about that practical effects, because with horror films, with almost any film, practical effects is the only, like, no. I hate when they do CG in those types of films, because practical effects is the realism
Yeah.
that is. Look at The Exorcist, for example, the scene where Linda is being flopped around on that bed. That that was done to her so many times that she, I guess, almost broke her back, or it did break her back.
Yeah, fractured a rib or something as well, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thing is, you look at like CGI, no matter how good it is, and there's some phenomenal CGI out there now in the current, where we are today, but it never looks gooey. It never looks moist. It never looks like, you know,
yeah.
practical effects. You push it and it oozes. You don't get that with,
right.
you didn't get that with the
Look at
CGI side of things. And when it's done badly, oh wow,
hmm
it can.
look
It
at
can.
Hellraiser.
Yeah,
The practical effects in the
Yep.
first movie, or the first two movies, where it's all the muscle, like there's no skin on the person, and then the person is, as
Yeah.
they're basically
Wait.
eating or sucking the souls out of people, they're
Yeah,
eating
yeah.
and
So
growing.
one
Like, all
classic.
that's practical. There's no CG in that.
Yeah,
There's
one,
And it's
claymation in that
scary as
movie.
hell.
You
one
got claymation
classic
in those movies.
to a remake though. The classic It, the remake of It, like
Part one of the remake.
yes, part one.
Yeah,
Yes.
part
Yeah.
one.
There's nostalgia for the 1990 TV show. I know there is, but it's not great. It's not. I'm probably gonna upset a lot of people right now, but it's not. You go back and watch it with clear eyes, and it's, John Boy's terrible for one. Um, it's, Tim Curry makes that show,
Exactly.
and it was for TV, admittedly, of course. Um, but yeah, it's not great. I mean, for the time, sure, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's great. Part one of the remake was really good.
I agree
The
100%.
second part, I mean, it's probably my favorite book of all time. We're a big Stephen King house here, and it may well be. So I'm sat there going, so the second movie's 3 hours long. We're gonna get a turtle and masturbation scene, and we're gonna get this. No, yeah. And there's some stuff in the book you don't need to put on the film.
Right.
The giant big boy with the axe looks awful. On the page it's phenomenal. On the screen it's terrible. So, but I think part one was really well done, and I think it's the highest grossing horror movie of all time now.
I believe I believe you are correct.
I believe so. Like, everyone saw that movie. Everyone. Like,
Bill
literally everyone.
Skarsgård. Yeah, but Bill Skarsgård did a great job portraying Pennywise. Like,
Yeah.
he was absolutely menacing.
Yeah.
As Pennywise.
And he knew he couldn't beat Tim Curry, so he didn't even try.
Yeah. No, he didn't try to. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't.
He
I
did
can't
his
beat
own
Tim.
version. That's
Yeah.
what I
Tim
like.
is
When-
his own thing.
Yes,
Tim
when
is
they
his own
come
thing.
back.
You cannot mimic Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, when they
Unfortunately,
remake the movie, like you were saying earlier, and at least make it your own. Don't
Yeah.
try to copy it
Yeah.
exactly, because they'll never,
as I say, the remake of Psycho is literally shot for shot. I mean, what's the point? Just watch the original.
Terrible.
Just
Yeah.
watch the original. Just download the original on your phone and watch it. And then
So
watch the birds after.
More of a psychological horror movie. Get Out.
Yeah,
Yep.
I recently reviewed all three Jordan Peele movies, for the page, and my wife's not a horror fan. My wife's not a horror person at all. She doesn't do horror. She sits through things
My
occasionally, but
condolences.
I know it's hard. It makes life difficult. I managed to get her to watch Get Out, and she hated it for all the right best reasons. She's like, that terrifies me, that someone can just hit a teaspoon and you're just gone. So I think Get Out. I think it changed the game a little bit, to be honest. At the time, it was a little bit formulaic, and then here comes this guy who was a comedy actor, Peele and Keane and so on, and it's brilliant. It's a brilliant movie. Everyone in that movie is superb. Literally everyone, and you just sort of sat there watching, going, "What am I actually watching? Like, what is this?" And then we got it again with Us.
Yes.
I'm not a smart man. I'm not, and I sat there watching Us, going, "I don't get this. Am I supposed to get this? I don't understand." Third or fourth view, and I was like, okay, I've got it. I'm with you. Not so big on Nope. I don't think Nope felt like it was a bit of everything. Not quite sure what it wanted to be. It was like a western / sci-fi / horror / comedy /
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like a really long Twilight Zone episode.
Yep. I said I really hope they leave the Halloweens alone now. Let
It's
them
going to
rest.
TV, I believe, isn't it? I believe it's going to TV.
Are they doing a TV show?
A24 have taken the rights for TV, I believe.
Okay. Well, if A24 is behind it, that gives me a little bit more
Mhm.
faith that they could
Yeah.
do a faithful adaptation.
Yeah, I think the thing is, everyone thinks TV now is, not necessarily easier, but
It's
everyone loves Chucky.
Yeah, well, it's who has their hand in it too. Like
Yeah, of course it is.
if they truly love it, then they're gonna do it justice. I actually enjoy the new Chucky TV show. Honestly,
Yeah,
I haven't seen season
Mhm.
2 yet, but I've seen season 1 and I absolutely adored it.
I didn't think season 2 was as good as season 1, but it's still a great watch.
Okay,
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I On the Halloween stuff. I didn't. I really liked 2018. I could deal with Halloween Kills, bar the Evil Dies Tonight over and over, and Anthony Michael Hall just carry on. But still, a lot of gore, a lot going on. It took the story forward, and then Halloween ended it. I guess is the best way. Kind of. It depends how you feel. Like I want, I don't go to see. I don't go to watch Halloween movies to see a grown man bullied by children, and then become Michael Myers. He's literally bullied by like 10-year-olds. I don't get it. I didn't get it at all. I was standing there going, "Is Michael Myers in this movie?" Like, and then he's living in the sewer, like flipping. I don't know. It's very strange. And then he comes back at the end, and I was like, and this is why I worry about the Exorcist movies now, because regardless of how Believer does, it's a trilogy.
yeah.
You've got Deceiver and something else, and
Yeah.
Cult. So, I don't know. Blumhouse just like to make money, I guess.
You seen the
Yeah.
third Halloween stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Halloween Ends was poor. I know a lot of people that actually quite enjoy it because it was something different, but it was too different for me. I think I want to see Michael and Laurie finally go toe to toe without Busta Rhymes being involved. And we didn't quite get that. We just didn't. So good old Busta Rhymes. Oh my god.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes here to see what their top 10 is. So let's see.
Okay.
See if you guys agree. In 10th, we had It, the 2017 one.
The remake, the
Part one.
part
Part
one.
Part 1. Yeah. Part
Okay.
1.
Yeah, I can see that.
Ninth
I
place,
probably would have rated it a little bit higher than 10, but
ninth place, we have Insidious.
No,
no.
not for me. Nothing. It's not a poor movie, but I wouldn't rate it that highly. I wouldn't put it that high.
Number 8, they have Sinister.
Okay. I mean, Sinister's, yeah.
Yeah, Sinister is definitely it's a good more modern
Mm,
horror flick.
yeah.
7th place, they'd have Halloween 1978.
Okay. That should be quite a bit higher, but
In 6th place, they have The Ring. I did not like The Ring personally.
I don't mind I don't mind the original, if you like the Asian.
Yeah.
I quite like something. I quite enjoy a lot of the Asian horror and
Yes.
The
you know,
Ringu.
and Ringu was great. Things like I Saw the Devil and Battle Royale and
I love Battle
Battle
Royale.
Royale, yes.
not Battle Royale 2 though. Let's be clear.
No.
I own it, but it's I don't think it's ever been played. I've seen it. I own it because I had to because I'm a completionist, and if there's 2 movies, I have to have them both. But wow.
The Ring, The Grudge, same shit. To me, horror started going downhill there.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of horror movies you want to watch. Some people like that.
There-
Well,
kind of.
we jumped on the J horror, didn't we? At one point, like really heavily. Everything got a remake. Some really good movies got really poor remakes, and Shutter got one. The original Shutter's great, and then the remake, I think, had Joshua Jackson in. The remake of The Eye with Jessica Alba. Again,
Yeah.
not so much. Yeah, sounds familiar. Okay, what's next on the list?
There were a few gems during that period of time, but they were far and in between.
The Sarah McGellar Grudge isn't the worst of the lot.
No, it's not.
No,
You're
it's
right.
not. It's not a great movie. Don't get me wrong, but when you're compiling a list of those J horror remakes, that version of The Grudge is nowhere near bottom of the pile. I did like the Paranormal Activity movies, but you convinced me. I don't mind Paranormal Activity 1 and 2. I think they sort of bookend each other as one story. Beyond that, when you start going back in time and witches and
It's
doors and
just too
dimensions,
much. Yeah, it just
yeah,
gets
Yeah,
too
they
much at one point.
no,
the franchise lost me. I liked the first one. The second one for me was okay. Like you said, you're
yeah,
complete. But not my favorite of that type of film.
no, I don't mind the found footage movie at all. Admittedly, I quite like a found footage movie, but yeah, that I don't even know how many of these movies there are now. I have no idea.
And
And for me to say that, that's unusual. I don't have a clue. I have no idea.
All right, keep going, Mel. What else we got?
Yeah, what else have we got?
fifth place, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974 version.
Okay.
Fourth place, we got The Shining. Third place, we have The Conjuring. Second place, Hereditary.
Hereditary?
Yes.
Wait.
And for first place, they have The Exorcist.
So, The Conjuring is the third greatest horror movie of all time. Is that what they're saying?
According to Rotten Tomatoes, don't forget that Rotten
Wow.
Tomatoes is also a site that people vote. You know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I
of
mean?
course. Yeah,
you
yeah,
put
of
your
course.
rating and then overall. But
Wow.
yes, that's what they had. Let's see, in 2022, September 2022, that was their list.
See, I don't know if I would rate The Conjuring in my top 10 at all.
There's a few there. There's a few there that are missing, and it wouldn't be in that list for me.
Right.
Okay. Trying to think.
I can get behind The Exorcist.
Yeah, it's not better than The Thing, though.
No,
It's
I was
not
going to
better
say,
than-
where's
How-
that
the
one?
thing? The Thing's not even on the list. It's not even
Yeah,
there.
but yeah, where is that?
So it's not better than The Thing for sure. The Exorcist, I can understand. I kind of love The Exorcist Part 3 at this point. I've got to that point in my life now where I think watching George C. Scott shout at people is hilarious. Because that's all he does in that film. He
For
just
me,
shouts
The
at people.
Exorcist, The Exorcist absolutely has a place in the top 10 for me. In first place,
Oh, top
I don't
five.
think
Top
so.
five for sure. I'd say
Yeah.
top five probably. But yeah, to say things like The Conjuring or higher, I don't think wrong with nothing against The Conjuring movies. The first one was great, but it's,
I've watched all of them, and the way that they interplay all the different specters and demons or whatever into it. I do like that aspect. It's like one giant story, and you're learning all these backstories.
yeah.
Like The Nun, for example.
Mhm.
But I still wouldn't. I mean, it's a cool franchise, but I still wouldn't put that in anywhere near the top 10.
No, I mean my top. If I was going to do my top five, let alone top 10, my top five in no sort of particular order would be A Nightmare on Elm Street, Alien, Tenebrae, Event Horizon,
Oh, good one.
and then potentially after that, and this could change on a a flip of a fingers. That's just how it is, isn't it? Then after that, I'm probably looking at something really obscure like the New York Ripper. But that could change. I'd have to do them in genres, like
Yes.
my top five slasher movies, my top five ghost movies, my top five, because there's too much. Just
Right.
yeah, that whole list, with the exception of probably Nightmare on Elm Street and Alien, could change. But I know.
think I could do it.
No, I'm not convinced I can. That was just off the off the dome, as it were. And I know Suspiria gets all the love, and I understand, but I love Tenebrae. Tenebrae is so good. It's so beautiful, like the red and white and the color, the dreamscape of it, the way it's made. It's such a beautiful movie. And I know everyone says well Suspiria and so on, but yeah, Tenebrae for me really takes some beating when you're looking at Giallo stuff. So yeah, as you can probably notice, I watch everything.
But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. How about series? Let's say House. Oh, fuck! Here I go again. I said it yesterday. I have such a hard time with that title. They have the crooked neck lady in that show.
A House on Haunted Hill. That's Mike Flanagan stuff.
There you
Yeah,
go.
that was decent.
That.
I actually that's not my favorite one of his. My favorite one of his is actually Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass was good.
I
Midnight
loved
Mass was
that. I absolutely adored that series.
Yeah, Midnight Mass was good. If if what you read is to believe, Mike Flanagan's going to be the man that brings Freddy back.
Really?
Apparently so. I'm on board. Devon Schwa, I believe, is it Devon Schwa? He was in the Final Destination. He was Stan in the Eminem video. That's how I remember him. He's of an age now where apparently he is in the running for Freddy.
Really? Okay. So yeah, because he was the main
He was in
character
Final
of Final Destination.
Yeah. That's the dude.
He's been in
Idle
the
Hands.
Chucky series.
He's in Idle Hands as well, I believe. Idle Hands is hilarious. He was in that.
Oh god, that movie. Yeah, that's beautiful horror comedy.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
So
something we should touch on here in a minute too.
Hard one. So he's in the running for Freddy apparently. You know.
Well, you know, listen,
at this point, I just want Freddy back. So I don't.
Right, I would love to
care
have
how
Freddy
we
back.
get. Yeah. So,
and you know what? Listen, there's been so many movies where we've all been like, well, I don't think he's going to do a good job. Like, for example, Heath Ledger in The Joker. Everyone was like, no, he's going to suck. And look,
Pattinson, Pattinson's. I like Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah,
I didn't. He wasn't a very good Bruce Wayne, but he was a good Batman.
Yeah, he was a good Batman. I went in expecting to hate that movie with every fiber of my being, and I came out not hating it.
No, not at all. In terms of TV series that I have time for, horror wise, Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is a regular return. I love Twin Peaks. Season 2 of Hannibal. I don't know if you guys have seen Hannibal.
Yes.
But season 2 of Hannibal takes it to a whole different level. Season 3, I think it was season 3 of Dexter, the one with John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Was that the one with John Malkovich?
Lithgow.
No, not John Malkovich. John Lithgow, isn't it?
John
Yeah.
Lithgow. The
The
Trinity
Trinity
Killer. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
that season was great.
That is the most heart-wrenching moment for me in any horror, like almost any TV series.
That
ever.
season was great.
Oh.
I'm glad you brought up Dexter, though. That's one of those great series, and they completely ruined it the way they ended it. Not just once, but twice.
I haven't seen the second one. I refuse to acknowledge it.
I had to.
The final ending was bad enough. The first one on the boat with the beard was bad enough. But
Yeah.
spoilers for anyone who's But the Trinity Killer season was superb. But yeah, season 2 of Hannibal was ridiculous. The season 1 of American Horror Story, Murder House.
I saw the second season with the witches.
Yeah, Covenant. I think it's Covenant.
That's
I believe that
That's
was season 3.
Yes,
The hotel. Listen, I love the hotel season.
Hotel was all right. Hotel was all right.
I love Murder House. That's what I meant.
Murder House was my favorite.
Really good, right? Yeah.
Then was Salem was the second season. Then Coven. Then Freak Show. It is a show that I have followed religiously. Now they started doing American Horror Stories, and I'm not as much of a fan as those.
With Kim Kardashian, right?
No, that's
Oh, please make her a victim. Make her a victim.
That's the last American Horror Story, but they have a spin-off called American Horror Stories, and it's a 45-minute episode. So you have like 45 minutes, and that's what you get.
That's pretty good.
It doesn't feel like it's not enough for me. I'm like I get interested, and then it stops, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
It's an anthology series, so like they're trying to do like the like Tales from the Crypt, but their version of it essentially without the Crypt Keeper.
That makes sense.
By the way, he needs to come back in some way
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
We've got it on Shudder, haven't we? They do Shudder make their own version of that, don't they? They do their own. They do Creep
You
Show.
gotta have the original Crypt Keeper. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
probably old and decrepit and broken down, but I'm sure that would help.
I'm
in the
pretty sure
spookiness of the character.
I reckon
he needs to
Savini
come
could
back.
get it
I miss
working.
him.
Savini could get him working again. I would have thought. But yeah, there's some good. I mean, TV's where it is to a degree. TV's where it's at now, isn't it? A lot of people, TV box sets and so on and so forth. That seems to be, where it's at. At one point, you couldn't move for The Walking Dead.
Walking Dead wasn't bad, but it went downhill after a while.
Yeah. 11 seasons. 11 seasons of anything's too much.
Well, they deviated so far from the source material with
They
the
did.
graphic novel.
Yeah, they
I
did.
mean, like that.
On the first season, and like not even far
True.
into it. On the first season,
5.
it's the books. You're reading the book and you're watching it. And you're like, it's not even close anymore.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
I
they
completely
ruined it that
agree.
way.
Yeah, but it started so well. It started really well. a whole season on the farm was just not needed. And then they got to the prison and they were in and out in like no time. So
But that
swap that around.
that episode where Sophia comes out of the
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
Gut wrenching.
Heartbreaking. But I said it from day one. I stand by it. None of that shit would have happened if they just kept Shane. I miss Shane. I love Shane. He was great.
Shane was an amazing actor.
The governor? No, Shane would have put that to bed straight away.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't. He would have joined him.
He may well have.
My favorite was Negan. I am completely a Negan girl. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched it enough to see Alpha. Alpha
Yeah.
and
I saw that season. Yeah.
that was crazy too. The first time I heard a Walker talk, I was like,
What the hell?
oh fuck, what the hell's going on? Are they getting intelligent all of a sudden? How? And then
The
I
Whisperers.
saw Alpha and I was
The
like,
Whisperers,
oh,
yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, the ending of that season with all of the heads on the pikes.
Oh.
That was
And
Yeah,
Carol,
okay.
fucking Carol breaking like that again. I felt that poor fucking woman. Like seriously, and
It was good. It was good. It just went so long.
Yeah, she.
Didn't it, you know?
Carol was one of my favorite because of her story, not because of necessarily what she was doing. The way that character developed over time, the way she became such a badass.
well, the what's her name, the McBride there, the actress that plays her.
Yes.
She just did a fantastic job of developing that character, and
Yeah.
they did give her quite a bit of creative license with that. I've seen her in interviews, and a lot of what happened with that character, she created herself based on just how she felt Carol would react.
Well, she was there from episode 1, wasn't she? She was the only one,
Yeah.
I think, come the end who was there from episode 1. Eventually, I mean, I haven't seen the spin-offs or anything. We tried fair, and I was like, well, it's just more of the same. And they never work, do they? They never. Whenever you get something that's such a phenomenal hit,
And
they
Fear
go, well,
the
we're gonna.
Walking Dead has one of my an actress that I like a lot. She played Lexa, Commander Lexa in the 100.
Oh, on the 100.
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
love
she's
that
awesome.
girl. Even with having somebody I love so much, I couldn't get into Fear the Walking Dead. I was
That
like,
was hard to get into.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Now they have
It gets a
Daryl
little bit better.
spin-off, the all the spin-offs now that they have, it's just too much.
The Maggie and Negan one wasn't bad because they only did like 6 episodes. They didn't make it like a full-fledged series or anything like that. And I watched all of them up until the end because you didn't have it on there. But it was actually pretty good. Just for what it was. It took place in a city. It had a whole new environment, a whole new bad guy. It brought something new to the table, and it was interesting to see how these two were going to get along.
Yeah.
Well, it took them to. I haven't seen it yet. They took them to New York City, right?
Minneapolis.
Okay. I knew it was some big major city.
If I can ask you guys a question, because we're on the topic of movies and all that, and I heard you talking about the reboots and stuff like that earlier. I didn't hear anybody mention Poltergeist, and I've always been wanting to see like a prequel as to why Carol Ann became clairvoyant, or why she had that power. What made her so special? You know what I mean? Instead of doing reboots, let's see something that led up to it.
It's just how it is. I mean, if you believe in all of that, which I do, it's just you're born with it. It's not something you learn.
It passed down through the women in the family, right? Because the nana had it, and
Right.
then obviously we find out later on that the mum had it but suppressed it or whatever, and then obviously Carol Ann. But I think that's how the story arc went, if I remember rightly. I don't know if I've seen the reboot. That's the one with Sam Rockwell in, right? The
It's
remake
not
of the
the
reboot.
same.
They never are. They never are. So I haven't seen it. It's slightly like Nightmare on Elm Street 1. Is it the worst movie in the world? No. But do I hate it because the source material is so important to me? God, yes.
Yes.
I thought all 3 were perfect, but that bad guy in the second one, the third one, Kane, that guy scared the holy shit out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah. Reverend Kane, that guy was terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely
I was
terrifying.
petrified of fucking mirrors for the longest fucking time. Like I had my mom. I had a TV in my bedroom, and I said it was the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep. I mean, I've always had insomnia, so I said I'll turn my TV on. It's one of those TVs you press the buttons and you turn the. Yeah, it ended up on Poltergeist. I was like, horror movie. I'm gonna watch it. I did not sleep. at all for about a week after that. I had my mom taking down the mirrors in my bedroom. It fucked me up. And
I bet you weren't drinking tequila anymore either.
and that's where my love of horror movies came in, because I loved being scared.
Well,
Mark, I know that it's getting really late.
we're
for you,
good.
but
Yeah, we're good.
You know,
I'm
you let
happy.
us know, and
No, I'm good. I've got a dog. I've just woken the dog up, and now he's growling at me, but he can
What
wait.
about Night of the Demons? That's another classic that not many people talk about.
No, it's true. Or Demons 1 and 2 either. A lot of those movies don't get the love that they deserve. Night of the Demons is. I haven't seen that for a while now, admittedly, but
They had the reboot too with Edward Furlong and Shannon Elizabeth.
Oh God!
The only
Edward Furlong and
the only Shannon Elizabeth horror movie I actually like is 13 Ghosts.
Yeah, no, that was a great movie.
Edward Furlong, he just automatically takes me to Pet Sematary 2. It should be Terminator 2, but no, we got a Pet Cemetery 2 instead.
Where he's at now, he reminds me of that guy who hangs out in front of the liquor store trying to get change for a 6-pack of Natty Ice.
Man, that guy's had a rough life, huh?
He chose it.
Yeah. You know, it is what it is.
I have a fun question for everybody here. What is your favorite opening scene from any horror film that you've ever seen?
Favorite opening scene from any?
Nightmare on Elm Street when he's making the glove. That is like, oh, we are messing around.
That's a good one.
Yeah. 1984 when he's putting the glove.
Does it have to be the opening scene, or could be the opening, like the beginning of a movie?
Like the beginning of the movie, like, you know, within the first 5-10 minutes.
Return of the Living Dead.
Okay.
The one in the
Classic
cemetery.
for me is Scream.
For you, it's
Scream is very effective, to be fair. Incredibly effective.
Just that one phone call. What's your favorite horror? No, fuck you. No.
For me, it's Ghost Ship.
Okay.
That was tripped out.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That cable?
Was the cable that came across the dance floor. Like you, like I was I was expecting something, but I was not expecting that. That was like, that made me want to watch that movie from start to finish because of that opening scene.
I was kind of one of my favorites.
It's one of my favorites.
Let down though? Did you feel let down at the end of it because it never reaches the level of that initial opening scene? Like, it's not great. It's okay. It's not a brilliant movie. It's not terrible. But that opening scene is, you know, you're like, whoa.
Probably the best scene of the whole movie.
And then you watch the rest of the movie and you go, I just watched the beginning again.
Let's just watch that. That was heinous. No, you want to know what the scenes where they showed what actually happened on the ship? You know, that like, because the stuff that happened on the ship was heinous as well. So like that kept in the same effect as the beginning of the movie, but there was so much stuff that was in between that could have been better. That movie could have been 1,000 times better and been one of the greatest horror films of all time if they had just executed it just a little bit better, especially after that first scene.
What'd you guys think of Terrifier?
Terrifier's fun.
It didn't do anything for me.
It's fun, yeah. If you can deal with it, it's fun. If you can't,
I can't get
not
into
so
it.
much.
I can. It does nothing for me.
I mean it's one of those movies like Hobo with a Shotgun, you know, or was it Zombie Strippers?
That movie was awesome. That deserved an Oscar nomination.
Now that brings us to the zombie comedies. Okay, let's talk about that now.
Okay, Shaun of the Dead. Next subject.
Return of the Living Dead Part 2.
Yeah, Return of the Living Dead Part 2 is good.
I wanted to bring up one specifically because they're doing a Kickstarter to try and film the second one, and it's also because it is all metal. Okay, and it's called Deathgasm.
I donated.
I've heard about that. I've never seen the
I
first
donated last week.
I love the first film. I donated as well. I love the first film so much because it is so silly. It is so silly, but it is so awesome at the same time.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. I think zombie comedy works, doesn't it? It just works. Zombieland's fun. Second one, not
like
so much. Yeah. But Shaun of the Dead takes some beating, I think.
Shaun of the Dead is just classic.
I like that independent film, Knights of Badassdom.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
with the guy from True Blood, I forget his name, and then of course Peter Dinklage.
Yeah. Come on, get that.
That movie was just a geek's dream because it was LARPing, it was fantasy, it was summoning demons, it was horror, it was comedy, all at once.
When you keep saying comedy horror, I keep thinking of Return of the Living Dead Part 2 when they were in the town and you had the talking zombies and you had that one bitchin', get that screwdriver out of my head. You know, and then you had the Michael Jackson zombie at the end, one dancing, doing the Thriller, where they're all being electrocuted. I mean, I miss those because those were the only zombie movies where you had talking zombies. They had intelligence and an IQ of some sort. So that's why those always reign supreme for me. I mean, the second one in the cemetery scared the shit out of me. And rightfully so, it did a great job. That's going to be the best zombie movie of all time for me, at least.
Yeah, it's up there for sure. Yeah.
I mean, how do you all feel about Gremlins?
Gremlins is a legitimate horror movie.
I got 2 action figures sitting on my desk right here.
It's a legitimate horror movie. It is like, you know, it's a Christmas movie, but it's a legitimate horror movie.
It is. It's scared. It's a good horror movies to get the kids started on instead of trying like Poltergeist or some stupid shit.
We're gonna work you into the trauma.
I did it with my nephews, and you know, I think he was like what 6 and 8, and poor them. They were sitting there, and all of a sudden Gizmo was like, and they're like, "Oh my God, he's so cute!" And then he transformed into like, "Oh, this is a little scary." This is a little scary. And it's like, calm down, guys. And then they were like, oh, can we watch Pan's Labyrinth? And I was like,
wow, that's a step up.
I know, if you guys were scared with with Gremlins, we're not going there. Not yet.
But what about Critters then?
Oh.
When the lady kills the fucker in the blender, exactly.
So, I think it was Critters 2. Critters 2 is genius. There's one part in Critters 2 which is so clever, and it's the bit when he takes the bounty hunter takes on the form of the stripper. He takes on the form of the stripper in the book because they're on Earth hunting the critters, and he's changed obviously completely into the stripper. And he's looked at the magazine, and he's even got the staple in his belly from the magazine. Like, that is so clever. Like whoever did that, I'm like, that is you. Like, that is such a small detail, but it's so clever.
It's an important detail.
Oh, massively, yeah. Did you know that in Gremlins, originally Gizmo was going to be Stripe? He was going to be the villain.
Oh, was he?
Apparently so, yeah. Originally, the plan was for him to get wet and become Stripe and so on.
They shot a version. I think they even shot a version.
They probably did.
Of that, but then what happened is when they did their test audience, they didn't like it.
No, everyone loved Gizmo.
Gizmo's cute. Yeah. You can't do that to Gizmo. I mean, even in the second one, you know, when he started getting wet in the building and all those other ones started popping out. Yeah, they were. Each one was great. She was all different personality. They were cute, even when they flipped.
The smart gremlin was the funniest thing.
That's the one I have sitting on my desk. I have him in the Flasher.
Laughing.
The Flasher was good. The Flasher was brilliant.
The Flasher was a good.
So funny. But there was a run, wasn't there? We had Gremlins, we had Critters, we had Ghoulies, we had.
Yes.
Was it?
Well,
was it?
It's funny.
I think we had the Gate as well, didn't we? Had the Gate around that time as well.
I remember the Gate.
Yep, the Gate.
Oh, the Gate
I just rewatched that. I just rewatched that. It didn't do anything for me as an adult. I watched it when I was probably, I don't know, 12, 13.
I've not seen it for years, so in my head it's still amazing. But
I enjoyed it, but it didn't have that same effect as an adult that I had watching it as a kid for some reason.
What do you guys think of 13 Ghosts?
I want to see a movie series on that.
Yeah, I thought it was,
I'd like to see a series on all of them, like one episode on all of them.
Yeah, expand on it.
And how did they get all those ghosts in that one place?
Right, I want to know all about the Juggernaut, and I want to know how they came to be what they were. Like, I want all those backstories.
Well, there's something on the DVD, I think, a special features. They have like a short, brief bio on each ghost, but I want to see a full-fledged cinema.
Yeah, fleshed out. I want them to do with 13 Ghosts what they're doing with Nightbreed.
Marilyn Monroe Gremlin had a nice rack.
It's funny you said that. Did you know the Marilyn Monroe Gremlin is actually the bastard child of Stripe and Yoda?
Mike.
Touch you, will I?
Have you guys ever seen the movie The Cell with like Jennifer Lopez?
Weird that was all right.
That was. It's decent. I quite like Tabs.
I feel
very
like
colorful.
I was gonna say I feel like that one is more of a cerebral thriller than so much as a horror film.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about
Yeah.
Night of the Creeps?
Thrill me. Thrill me. Tom Atkins could do no wrong.
If
Atkins
we're
is the
gonna,
man.
if we're gonna talk some obscure ones, what about Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
Classic.
Oh my god.
Hey,
Classic.
talking.
That
Another
was
one
one of the.
I'll tell you one I do love, and it is obscure. Now it's obscure, admittedly, and Maniac Cop.
Never
Love.
seen it.
Have you never seen Maniac Cop? Maniac Cop is
Oh,
phenomenal.
Maniac Cop. Yeah.
Yeah, Maniac Cop's so good. The sequel's better. The third one, whew.
Isn't the same one called Highway to Hell, was it? Where that guy drives into hell and he has to outrun a demon cop or something like that to go rescue
I
his
haven't seen
girlfriend
that
or
one,
something?
admittedly. No, I've not seen that one. Maniac Cop is literally this huge, bulking dude who was a policeman and gets too close to corruption, and they think they have him murdered, but he comes back and is just killing people. Tom Atkins is in it. Bruce Campbell's in it. It's
Ooh.
really good. Made by William Lustig. It's really good. It's like 1986, I think, I believe. And then the sequel came out a couple of years later and had Robert Davi in it. Again, really good.
You just said a name that sparked something we haven't talked about. Evil Dead.
No,
Nope.
we haven't. That's true.
I was gonna bring it up. Yep.
How do we feel about Evil Dead Rise? I kind of liked it. I'll openly admit. I didn't expect to, but I kind of liked it.
It was. I feel the exact same way. I was not. I went in with very low expectations, and it pleasantly surprised me.
Yeah, kind of liked it. I have to admit, I was like, okay, we're getting more Evil Dead. That's a good thing. What do you mean it's not in a cabin and there's not, there's no Bruce Campbell? Oh, okay, they could just be naming it this, but actually, I thought the main actress did a phenomenal job going from sort of down on her luck mother to terrifying deadite in the space of like an hour. Yeah, decent. I mean, the original trilogy is much beloved.
Yes,
that was another one that scared me when I was a kid. Was the second one with the mother in the cellar, dead by dawn, dead by dawn. I mean, yeah. That one put a scare of me when I was a kid.
Yeah,
No,
I didn't mind the
that's
remake
funny.
either, or the reboot, or the Fede Alvarez one.
I didn't see it. I did watch the Netflix series they had. That was good.
Yeah.
The remake of Evil Dead wasn't terrible. I mean, it as far as remake goes,
it's all right. I thought it was all right.
It wasn't terrible. They definitely tried to keep to the source material.
A lot of practical effects, mostly practical effects, I believe.
Yes, and that gained my respect. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Practical effects with horror, you can't do CG. It does not work. It does not have the same effect. I'm sorry.
It's not the same thing at all.
No, doesn't. No.
But it was okay. Again,
shows. We were talking about shows earlier.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. For sure.
Plus, too, with Bruce Campbell, when he's beating the shit out of himself when he cut off his own hand in the second one, talk about amazing acting. I mean,
that goes on his own for 90% of that movie.
Yep.
It's just him for 90% of that movie, and he just kills it.
Anger over those terrible arms.
I love that, and I love Army of Darkness. I love Ash versus the Evil Dead. I mean, the TV show was fantastic too. I loved it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it when they brought him into the comic books too, and they crossed him over into the Marvel universe, and then the Necronomicon started like possessing all the superheroes, and then it became a really big thing with the Marvel zombies. So it's like a lot of stuff is owed to the Evil Dead.
Yeah. And I
Sam Raimi's a genius too.
Yeah, he is, and I kind of feel like Drag Me to Hell's an Evil Dead movie.
That movie was tripped out.
Yeah, that kind of feels like an Evil Dead movie. It's got a similar sort of feel to it. And I know you can know when you're watching a Sam Raimi movie, you can just tell. But I kind of feel like that was an Evil Dead movie in all but name, to be honest.
What about Thinner?
We have a horror hound coming up. Sam Raimi's going to be there. I'm planning on going to meet him.
Oh, nice.
I'm planning on going to meet him.
I've not seen Thinner in a very long time. I've read the book. I remember seeing that's with Richard Burke, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thinner, the fake RoboCop. I don't have good memories. I'm not going to lie of Thinner. I remember the book being decent. I don't have the best of memories. I have to go back to it. It's been a long time, but curse from a gypsy for running someone over.
He was getting head from his girlfriend and wasn't watching the road, and he hit somebody.
Yeah, I mean it's no Sleepwalkers. Don't get me wrong. If we're going to go down the
Sleepwalkers
Stephen
was
King,
awesome.
if we're going to go down the Stephen King road, Sleepwalkers. I don't know how he got that. I mean, it's just a batshit crazy movie. I think anyone else would have not got that movie made, but he thought I'm Stephen King.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you're right. You are.
I think Sleepwalkers was the first horror movie that brought taboo into the mainstream.
Yes, yeah, that's very true. The Stephen King stuff's weird, right? Because you either get really good or it's terrible.
Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep. But even the book wasn't great of Doctor Sleep. So it's a Dreamcatcher was poor. I remember watching Dreamcatcher.
And I had such high hopes for Dreamcatcher because I loved the book.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great at all. I'm trying to think some of the other stuff that came.
How did you feel about the remake of The Stand?
I haven't seen it. I'll be honest.
I
I've not seen it
either. I like the original.
No, I haven't seen it. We can't get it here so much. It's not available on any. I'm gonna buy it, I guess, but it's not available on any of our streaming services currently.
Where are you, Mark?
I didn't.
I am in Bristol in the UK.
I still prefer the '90s version with Gary Sinise and Rob Lowe, Molly Ringwald. But the remake wasn't terrible. They fleshed out a lot more stuff that they didn't do in the original.
Yeah, I've not seen it. Like I said, we don't get Hulu here, for example. There's a few other things we don't get. We don't get like AMC Plus or whatever it's called. So there's a few things we literally just start in the last 6 months, I guess, getting Paramount Plus. But yeah, there's so many of them now. If you sign up to all of them, you're spending like hundreds of pounds a month on streaming sites, and you only can watch one at a time. So, so we don't get it. So I haven't seen the new one. I'll probably pick it up once it's a reasonable price. I'm
hoping Melanie's still here. I want to ask all of you a question. Do you think the Human Centipede belongs in the horror genre? It should be in that category, or is that just on a completely level of fucked up on its own?
I'd almost go horror comedy. Certainly the first one. The second one is just
awful.
Let's see how far. Yeah, I've seen that the third one's worse. The third one's just a terrible film.
The one thing that so my wife again is huge with horror films, and there's not that much that scares her. The one thing that creeps her out more than anything else is when you have like a human in the middle of turning into a monster, or like a centipede, like The Thing, like that. That's the kind of horror stuff that freaks her out the most. So she won't even watch The Human Centipede.
Really?
Like she watched it one time, she will never watch it again.
I remember when it first came out, I was still very much in I can watch anything. That's nothing affects me. I'll watch it. It'll be fine. And you don't really see a huge amount. Like it's what you see is horrendous, obviously, but there's a lot of it is cut away. The second one takes it to a whole other level.
Yeah.
It's black and white, isn't it? And then the third one's just garbage. There's no other word for it. It is garbage. The third one, it's so bad. How they got Eric Roberts to turn up in that movie is beyond me. He must have made somebody money. She's away.
The Human Centipede second one was by far the worst one. I mean, that poor skinny white guy attached to that really big fat dude. I'm like, oh my god! And the thing was, I couldn't turn off the movie. It was that horrible.
You have to finish it, right?
Okay, what's gonna happen?
I remember watching the third one. I was like, okay, this is just terrible. Like it wasn't well made. It wasn't quirky. It was just awful, but not as bad as Hellraiser Revelations.
I like the first three Hellraisers and the one in space. Those were the ones that I liked.
That's the fourth one. The one in space.
Bloodlines is the fourth one.
Bloodlines should have been 3 separate movies. Because you've got the origin, and you've got the modern day, and then you've got the space bit. They should have made. They could quite easily have been their own movies.
Right.
No, I don't think Bloodlines is terrible. It's not compared to the rest of the series.
No.
What about
Leprechaun?
But also,
Leprechaun.
no comment on that. Now should that be classed as horror? Is the question. I'm not convinced.
I mean, again, horror comedy, because let's face it, I love me some Warwick Davis because he's Willow. So that's the reason why I watched that movie, and it was a young Jennifer Aniston. The first one's okay, not terrible, but
he ended up in space.
It's got that comedy vibe.
He ended up in space at some point, though, didn't he? And in the hood.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and in the hood. Yes, and he was in the hood.
Of course, Horror comedy wise, I struggle to see past Texas Chainsaw 2. Texas Chainsaw
Lick
2
my
is
plate.
so good. So good. As a younger man, I was like, this is awful. It's not as good. The first one was tension and everything else. And as a much younger man, I was like, this is awful. And as you get older and you start to appreciate this stuff,
You
it's
didn't
like,
like the chainsaw duel?
Listen, there's a couple of films that I just can't help but laugh at, and I get yelled at by my friends all the time because they're like, "Why are you laughing at this?" The remake of Black Christmas with Michelle Trachtenberg is one.
ugh.
I laughed through that entire film. The candy cane through the eye with I die laughing with
poor.
that death
So
every single
poor.
time.
What about Jack Frost? Then you're gonna go down that route.
Well, there's that. There.
Or the
But yeah,
ginger
Black-
dead man.
Yeah, I'm not reviewing that. Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's back.
You're a ginger dead man. Now screw this. I'm out of here.
The ginger dead man.
We've crossed the line.
Yeah, I'm not reviewing. Those movies. No, jeez. Leprechaun in the Hood. There you go. Yeah.
Yep, that one is. Well, that one should be erased from existence.
Which
Leprechaun.
one?
Leprechaun in the Hood.
I think I've only seen the first one, to be honest. If I'm completely honest.
Scared me.
It didn't. Come on, it didn't.
Don't forget
Did it
the reason why they made that is because there is a legit phobia with a lot of people of little people of midgets. They absolutely, there's a whole bunch of people that are absolutely petrified of midgets.
I mean, at the time I get it, but yeah.
Re-release the Wizard of Oz then. Make it all about the Munchkins. You didn't have to make a leprechaun.
They could turn that into a really good horror. Like, they could turn the Wizard of Oz into a really good horror film. Honestly.
There's a rumor someone killed themselves on the set. I heard a story that someone actually hung themselves while filming.
That's true. That is actually true, and that's the reason why a lot of theater productions don't like to do the Wizard of Oz.
They wouldn't do it, yeah.
They feel that the show is cursed.
Yeah, and the sequel is almost full on horror. The one with Fairuza Balk, I think, or Balak. Pardon, sorry. Apologies for the accent. That's got a real horror arc to it.
Well, that's Tim Burton.
Yeah, it's Tim Burton, exactly. Just like Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is a horror movie. It's just that it's set in a park. Hold on. If you read Jurassic Park, the book, Jurassic Park is like a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's just it just didn't have an 18 certificate. All it needed was a bit more gore, a few more limbs.
Well, I mean, if they had done Lost World the way the book was written, that would have been a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Still made a few million, billion, or whatever.
Oh, it made plenty, but the book was, Michael Crichton's version of that was so much better.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I've always laughed because I talked with a friend of mine about like how Nolan could be really original and creative with like the movies they come up with nowadays. And I was telling them that, since I like doing parodies and jokes of things, I want to see some sort of twisted porn parody of Child's Play where someone put like their possessed soul into like a dildo or something like that. And someone got it and started using it. Now they're getting possessed by it. You can see some of the process of using it. Give me the power, I beg of you.
I'll pass on that one.
Yeah, I think I'm not reviewing that. I'll lose my page in seconds.
Gio said I'm sticking to Hellraiser, Stompfoot.
And Terminator. I don't know who it was. I'm sorry, but yeah, Terminator is a slasher movie.
Yeah. It is.
I stand by it. Terminator is a slasher movie for sure.
Just like Die Hard.
And Christmas.
A Christmas movie.
Yeah. And Batman Returns.
She's shaking her head no. It is. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
A lot of people said Batman Returns is actually considered a really dark and twisted movie, and I'm like, well, that's Batman. What do you expect? I mean,
what were you expecting, right?
After that happened, everything got colorful and family friendly. Then you got anybody who could beat the butt chin, like George Clooney or Val Kilmer. You know what I mean? That's everything went downhill and you crapped on the Batman series altogether.
Yeah, it's true.
I think we lost Melanie altogether.
I think we have, yeah.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, she's back.
She's like, I don't know.
I don't know. Keith is gone.
No, he's
still here.
I'm still here.
I can't see
Chucky
you.
does Dallas.
Chucky does Dallas. Yeah, I cannot see you, Keith. It's me.
Yeah,
It's
nice
not
there.
you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. They can see you. It's me.
Excuse
So
me.
you guys keep talking. I will be right back.
Okay.
I just want to see new creative things, man. I missed like the Blob. We haven't seen a new Blob movie in Lord knows how long.
Yeah, it's the problem you're gonna have with a lot of that stuff is they'd make it CGI now. It'd be terrible. They would, no one's
Yeah.
You
gonna
might be able to do a little bit more, though. I mean,
in theory, you could do CGI. CGI is fantastic. There's nothing you can't do. We talked about it earlier. In the world we live in at the moment, a Nightmare on Elm Street should be phenomenal because there's no limitation as to what you can do in a dream, and CGI is the same.
yeah.
But it just doesn't pull together that way.
Again, practical
doesn't.
effects.
Yeah, for sure.
It goes back to that 100%.
Every time. Yeah, that's
Wow.
true.
Well, that's a good
CG
surprise.
does not work right in horror. It just doesn't.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to cut you off for 2 seconds because that's something that doesn't happen very often. My mommy is in the live stream tonight.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Go ahead. We are talking horror movie. That woman right there is what put me onto horror movies. She is a big horror movie fan. She never stopped
Good
me
job.
from watching anything. So,
Good job, Mom.
yeah.
My dad raised me when I was little. When there was a good thunderstorm going on, we'd stay up late night and watch classic horror movies like the first Nightmare on Elm Street or Poltergeist or, Return of the Living Dead and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what me and my dad did when I was little. So I got older and they got worse.
Yeah, it's true. Although the 80s was so good. I love the 80s. The 80s just as a decade for horror. Like all bets were off. It was so good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate it at the time. Now you look back and you go, there was nothing they couldn't do and didn't care, and there was, it wasn't always politically correct, and was a place for that sort of thing. Like you're not making a film like Mother's Day now. Man, trying to make Mother's Day today, jeez. And nor should you want to be fair. But it has a place in time, and the 80s were phenomenal for it.
Yeah.
It really were. I think obviously it depends. I know people that say, well, the 70s were, the
Does
best.
anybody remember The Serpent and the Rainbow?
I've got it upstairs. Remember it? I watched it about 2 weeks ago. Bill Pullman.
Another one of those psychedelic thrillers. They call it a horror movie, but it wasn't really a horror movie. But it scared you like it was one.
Yeah, kind of like
Jacob's Ladder.
People Under the Stairs was similar as well.
Yeah.
People Under the Stairs is a horror movie. It's got comedy twinges to it, but is it conventional horror? Not really, but yeah, it has its moments for sure.
Did give me some nightmares though, being trapped in that house with the brother and sister getting the lovins.
That was the husband and wife couple from Twin Peaks, wasn't it? They just took the pair of them and went, "We're going to recast you in People Under the Stairs," and that was it. They were away.
Oh yeah, and by the way, you two are in love having kids, and the ones you don't keep, you keep them in the basement. Roll with it.
That's just how it is. That's how it is. Yeah. No, the 80s, you couldn't go wrong. Just there was so much good stuff. Like you say, you get a Blockbuster on a Friday and just pick something based on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it was back then. Those private video stores with the beaded curtain.
Yep.
Parents tell you don't go in, that's for adults only, till you stick your head in there and figure out what the hell did I see?
We didn't get those here, I'm afraid. No, we didn't have them here. We had the stores, but we didn't have the curtains with other entertainment behind them. All I remember is you could go in there and for like £1, which by today's
Chucky Does Dallas is back there.
Chucky Does Dallas. Yeah. You could go into the store. You could go into the video store, my local video store, and for £1, you could hire anything. £1 was like, I don't know, at the time was probably, I don't know, $2, I guess, $1.50 maybe.
Right.
And you could bring it, and it was £1 as long as you took it back the same day. So you go home, watch it, take it back. So you could get like 5 movies for £5, which take them back. And no one ever checked your age or anything. No one cared. So just
Did they
take
charge you if you didn't rewind?
No.
Be kind, rewind, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Those
saw
are
an
the
actual
days.
VHS tape rewinder recently at a record store up here. I was like, holy shit, those are still around?
If
What do you
only,
guys
huh?
think of Annabelle? Because Annabelle is a actual
Well,
real doll.
yeah,
There is a story.
isn't it a Raggedy Ann doll though in
Yes,
real
it is
life?
a Raggy.
There you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
I quite like the second one. I thought the second one was okay. I didn't have a lot of time for the first one, but I thought the second one was quite good.
They
Uh,
they didn't really do anything for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
The
same here.
doll did not scare me.
I think the thing is that Conjuring universe is just saturated, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got the initial movies, then they've all got spin-offs and Nuns and La Lloronas and Crooked Manor didn't happen, but it was meant to happen or it's
Well,
gonna happen. Or
they're kind of trying
don't
to
know.
bring, the real stories, the paranormal, especially paranormal. They'll look at, there's the boy also. There's it's the dolls. Annabelle is that's a scary fucking doll for real. I'm afraid of dolls.
Mm.
I'm gonna give them some publicity again because it is a local business here in North Carolina, and I'm big on supporting your own, local business, little bands and everything. So they're called the Odd Duck. So it's all oddity stuff. It's all, and they have room. You knock before you enter because when you enter, this is what greets you. I am petrified of dolls.
Yeah, that's a no from me. I'm not scared of them, but I wouldn't be comfortable there.
Oh, no,
Yeah, no.
that I opened that. I knocked and I opened that door and I said, "No, fuck no," and I walked away. The guy was laughing. He said, "You don't even know how many reactions they have a camera in there." I said, "You should post those reactions. You should post all those reactions on YouTube. You'd get a lot of hits and you'd get a lot of." They have the replica for Annabelle. You see her right there. She's the Raggedy Ann one.
Mm-hmm.
She sits in the corner in a box. No. Dolls. Chucky is the one that just started it for me.
We went through a run of them, didn't we? There was a run of movies where, like I said, we mentioned earlier, like I reviewed the Puppet Master trilogy.
Classic.
The 1 to 3, and straight away people were like, "Is that it?" I was like, "Yeah, there's 11 of these movies. I don't want to watch them, and you don't want to read about them." Like 11 Puppet Master movies. Can you imagine the downturn in quality? And then you had Demonic Toys versus Puppet Master, and I think there was one, wasn't there? There's a really old one just called I think it was just Dolls. It might have had Anthony
I
Hopkins.
remember a movie called Dolls, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think it was.
remember that.
Oh, Keith,
Yeah.
that's for you. Yo, is that a helmet next to you on on you toy? Oh wow. Yeah.
That is a great helm. Yep, that is a great helm from the Crusade era. Not like it's a replica, of course, but it's colored a very specific way. I wanted it like that, to be like the Black Knight. And then the outfit that I have to go along with it is cloak and tabard of it has the Hospitaller insignia, not the Templar, because the Templars were a corrupt group, honestly. The Hospitallers, which is the reason why I chose Nightfall for my band name. The Hospitaller was the sect of knights during the Crusades that actually held up their end of what honor should be.
Oh, you're Nightfall. Dude, you're awesome.
And seriously, you guys have to check out Nightfall. Give them a follow. The last video they had, Starfall, is just phenomenal. Did we hit the 100K finally on Starfall?
No, it's slowed down and it is like sitting between 82 and 83K right now.
All right. We're gonna push it a little more. I'm telling you, we're gonna hit that 100K. We have to hit that 100K.
Annabelle. I couldn't get into it because it's just not my thing. But every time I saw that damn doll, it reminded me of that episode of Seinfeld when George saw that doll and it looked just like his mother, and it kept freaking him out. And he was spazzing out and having fits and everything. Phantasm, yeah. The tall man. Boy.
Yeah, I think I think the reason why Annabelle didn't get me is I was expecting there to be more creepy movement from the doll, and they didn't really do anything with it. Like, at least with Chucky, they had, somebody moving around to make it look more legit, like the doll was actually alive. But the doll just literally be in one place and then like
Yeah.
stop animation would be in the next place, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't freak me out. I'm sorry.
Did you
Yeah,
like the
no.
Chucky remake?
I didn't mind it.
Chucky
I didn't,
remake was absolutely horrendous.
I didn't mind it. I'll be honest. Maybe because it was Mark Hamill. Maybe I'm a little bit blinkered for Mark Hamill, but I didn't. In a world of remakes, I didn't mind. You know, it's not clear any space for any awards anytime soon. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't mind it. I'll be honest.
The remake was awful though.
I didn't like it. I didn't like how they redesigned Chucky. I didn't like the way he looked.
No, weird, really weird. But
that killed that right there killed it for me. But then when they did the TV show and they brought it back the way it was supposed to be,
yeah, the TV show's decent. It is decent. Yeah, I haven't seen. We haven't got it here at the moment anywhere that I'm aware of. The new Pet Cemetery, Blood. I think it's called Bloodlines.
I took the originals only. I couldn't get into the remakes.
Yeah, I've not seen I've not seen it yet. Apparently, it's okay. One
Mark,
of those.
I haven't seen it.
You mentioned Puppet Master from Full Moon.
Yeah,
You remember Subspecies?
I do.
Excellent vampire series.
Yeah, fantastic.
Radu was the best looking vampire ever. Right up there with Gary Oldman.
Yeah. Subspecies was it was quite a big deal at one point, and
Go check that out, Melanie, when you get
very cheaply made, but very effective.
Practical, all practical.
Yeah.
The only thing that was CGI was those little demons that turned in when he broke off his fingers. They turned those little demons. That was the only thing that was CGI in the whole movie.
Well, that was the beauty of Puppet Master. Like, the acting's not great and the stories are what they are, but the actual puppets are like the effects is just so charming. That's the best thing. It gets
better too as it goes on. I mean, you gotta have some patience for the first one, but once you get into like part 3 and part 4, I mean, it really starts getting really good when they start going into Bucharest, into the cemetery, and they find his demon mother, which is a ghoul.
Let's say that there's 11 of them. No, I was never going to review 11.
There's 11 subspecies? I thought it was like only 5.
No, 11 Puppet Master.
Oh, whew.
Wow.
Yeah, no one needs to see 11 of those.
We talked Freddy, we talked Halloween. We didn't even talk about Friday the 13th. Or maybe we did.
And we did a little bit.
The fan film,
We touched on part 4 and part 6 as the highlights of the series.
See, I'd love to see it, but the problem is The Conjuring owns the rights to Nightmare on Elm Street. That's why you won't see a big film, because they think that it's going to take away from their franchise, which to me sounds stupid. If you were to do it right, you could have 2 blockbuster franchises on your hands.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. Evidently, Mike Flanagan's bringing Freddy back. Mike Flanagan's bringing Freddy to the big screen.
If you don't know who Michael Flanagan is, he runs the Flaniverse in Netflix. So he does House on Haunted Hill, Midnight Mass, The House of Usher, all
Gerald's
those
Game,
shows.
In the Tall Grass, Hush. Yep. Hush is superb. Oculus. You guys seen Oculus?
Gerald's Game.
I didn't think Gerald's Game could be made, but they did a really great job with it. Oculus is great. Hush is great. The guy knows what he's doing. He made. How do I word this to not be disparaging? He made Dr. Sleep watchable.
Yep.
I guess.
Although I will say this: so the first time I went to go watch it, the scene with the kid, I have 3 kids, man. So like
the scene with the kid was hard, right?
It was so hard. I had to stop everything and then come back to it because from a parent point of view, that messed me up.
Yeah. But the guy makes so much stuff for Netflix, and he's literally Stephen King's new Mick Garris, but better and more. No disrespect to Mick Garris, but he's a far more talented filmmaker.
Mike,
and
if you've never seen any of his stuff, if you go to Netflix, the one you should probably do Midnight Mass. Midnight Mass is fantastic.
Midnight Mass is really good.
Well, I don't have Netflix, but if I get around to it, I'll take you right. I got Tubi and Hulu and Disney Plus, and I like the old school stuff, man. Those were the best ones.
With Netflix, they have a lot of Netflix originals, so you're not going to be able to
Netflix horror
see it anywhere else.
Right.
Midnight Mass, for the creature in Midnight Mass, they did use a lot of practical effects and prosthetics instead of doing CG for it. So that's probably one of the reasons why I loved it so much. Is that one really does not have any CG work? It's all just camera work.
Yeah, it's worth checking out. I mean, for years they said Gerald's Game couldn't be made. Mike Flanagan made it, and he made it really well. In the Tall Grass is decent.
Yeah,
The guy knows what he's doing.
I love
So
his
he's
work.
bringing Freddy back. Apparently, as we were saying earlier, he's bringing Freddy to the big screen at some point. Because I think the rights have reverted back to the Craven family now. I believe. I
Wes
should know.
Craven?
Yeah, well, the fact obviously, it's back to his family, so the rights to the movies have reverted back to the Craven estate now.
I was actually
So-
Tim Burton get involved on it with him. I mean, that would help out so much.
Yeah,
That would be an interesting take. I don't know. Tim's got his own style. I don't know if that would work for Freddy.
no.
If it's in the dream world, it could.
It would still. I don't know. He because the stuff that he has is still very kind of like almost cartoonish. Like if you really think about all the stuff that he's done, I mean, yeah, Batman Returns. You got the Penguin. The Penguin was done really, really well. Like he was definitely creepy and scary. There's a chance, but you look at characters like there you go. Like you're looking at like Beetlejuice and stuff like that. Beetlejuice is still very campy, still very cartoony. Even the stuff that he created, like the claymation movies, Corpse Bride, Nightmare on Before Christmas. Again, he's very, very cartoony with the way that he does his worlds.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. I'm trying to think the last thing. The only thing I think he did that I would class as kind of out and out horror, and even that was a little bit sort of odd in its own way. It was a bit different. Was Sleepy Hollow?
That was a great movie.
Yeah, but even that had it. So you knew it was a Tim Burton movie. If you didn't see any of the credits, hadn't seen the trailer, didn't know anything about it, you knew it had that oddness
Feel.
about it. Yeah.
Feel.
But then I think didn't he make a vampire one as well with Johnny Depp? And it was terrible.
Oh, was it Mordecai? No, Mordecai. No, it was.
Yes. Johnny
I know
Depp
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Oh,
I
it was
can't
awful.
remember.
It was
It's,
Johnny
Dark-
Depp and Eva Green.
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Terrible. It was terrible. It was so poor.
It was
So
too
I don't know. I
campy.
mean,
It was absolutely too campy.
yeah, way too campy.
Yeah, Tim Burton would turn Freddy into a musical. Now I'm curious. I mean, you want to talk horror musical? Repo the Genetic Opera.
Repo, yes. that's a
Repo,
good one.
yeah.
I mean,
Never seen
this
it.
is a classic. You've never seen Repo? You have to watch.
Yeah, you
When
need
I
to see it.
moved, when I moved from Canada to the U.S., I brought 2 movies with me because I couldn't bring a lot of stuff on the plane, right? So I brought Labyrinth because David Bowie.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I brought Repo the Genetic Opera because who the fuck owns a copy of Repo?
So yeah, right.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So
I don't know.
Repo
That movie
stars.
does not have a spoken word. It is all
It's a musical.
music.
Yeah, it's a straight musical. So the guy who played Giles in Buffy, Anthony Stewart Head, he
Yep.
plays the main character in this. And he is absolutely brilliant. Paul Sorvino is in it as well.
The
Like,
cast is amazing.
fantastic cast. Which now that I mentioned Anthony Head, that brings me to another person that has delved into the horror universe we have not talked about, and that is Joss Whedon.
Yes.
Yeah,
With
Yeah.
Slither
yeah.
and with
Slither
the
was-
Cabin by the Lake.
Here it is, guys.
Cabin in the
Repo.
Woods.
Cabin in the
Yeah,
Woods, that's
Cabin
what
in
it is.
And didn't he originally write and start directing Alien Resurrection? He
Yes.
started, yeah, and then they took it off of him for something else for whatever reason. But yeah, Josh Whedon dabbles. I think it's safe to say. I mean, not necessarily horror as such, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer was massively ahead of its time.
Yep.
Oh,
It was, it was binge-worthy box sets before binge-worthy box sets were a thing.
Yep, I agree with that.
Wow.
And there was some pretty heavy stuff in there that was
Yeah.
horror-
Holds up
horror
really
esque.
well.
I
Holds
mean,
up
for
incredibly
me,
well.
the Buffy musical, the musical episode was
The
one of
musical
my favorite.
episode's amazing.
And that's where
Once
you
more with
figure out
feeling, I
that-
believe it's called.
It's where
Yep,
you figure
once
out
more.
that Giles can sing, and then you get
Yeah.
in a Repo, and I mean the cast in Repo, they have fucking Sarah Brightman.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's
Sarah
full on.
Brightman's
It's
in there.
full on musical, isn't it? It's a full on.
Yeah, it's full
You know,
on.
it
Paris
is
full on
Hilton
musical,
is in
yeah.
there. Like, I mean,
Start to
it's-
finish.
I have seen it. It's been a long time, but I have seen it because
There's
you know
no
if you haven't,
spoken
you know.
word.
Yeah. No,
and
it's not
I
straightforward.
could sing the whole fucking
Yeah.
movie from beginning to an end.
I mean, when you're talking obscure, like of really obscure stuff, and I mean, you don't really get a lot of it now because everything's kind of available. But things like Tokyo Gore Police. Have you guys seen Tokyo Gore Police? Wow, that is obscure. Like, it's a Japanese movie set in the future where humans can augment themselves with technology, and they're policed by the Tokyo Gore unit.
Oh
I've
wow.
never seen so much blood in my life. I mean, it's so obscure, but it's so fun.
So Geo,
Buffy did
Geo,
end up culty, but I mean, you can't take away from
the
what Buffy
last
was.
No, exactly.
the last season was not great, but they continued it on through a comic book.
did.
I suggest that you read it because it is absolutely fantastic the way they continued it on.
Where I really started liking it a lot is when Willow became Dark Willow. Is when
Yeah.
she
Season 6, yep.
lost her shit.
It was
like,
so ahead of its time. It really was. But the thing is, again, we were on about The Walking Dead, weren't we, earlier? Most things end badly. If they didn't, they probably wouldn't end. It's very rare you get a box set end well and everyone's happy. The cast want to move on to other things, or they want to dump the money into 5 seasons of Angel instead.
which I didn't like. I watched it. I could not get into Angel.
I didn't mind it. It was on a hiding to nothing, as we say over here. Like, it was never
Right.
going to be successful.
Like,
There was the season that he ends up going to that other Lauren's dimension. Like, that was probably the best thing about Angel that ever happened. But everything after that and before that was not great. I did Doyle. I did like Doyle in the first season, but with him leaving the show, it changed the way the show was.
Yeah, it's a weird one. But again, I mean, at that point, Sarah Michelle Gellar was arguably the biggest star on the planet, and she was everywhere and anywhere. And I get it. I mean, 7 seasons. As I say, 7 seasons of anything normally doesn't end well. It's very rare, isn't it? So,
and that was the only time you saw Pee Wee Herman being somebody else besides Pee Wee Herman.
Right, with the original film with what's her name?
Kirsty Swanson and Donald Sutherland. Donald Sutherland in the Watcher role.
We did touch on this yesterday's stream. I want to know who everyone's picked for the best cerebral horror over /horror.
Hellraiser.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I'll guess Silence of the Lambs probably. Maybe 7, but probably Silence of the Lambs. Like, that movie sits with you.
It does.
It just sits with you.
Stereo Echoes.
Stereo Echoes was decent, yeah.
If it got me. It got me. It really
if we're going, I mean, I was gonna say if we're going like not supernatural, like if supernatural is still allowed, then Hellraiser for a cerebral, because that's a mindfuck right there.
Yeah.
The way that movie goes. But if we're going like real worlds, I have to agree with Silence. That one. Stay with you.
It just sits with you, that movie, like I say. 7 runs it close. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think 7 runs it
puts the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again.
Didn't think of that 7. Yeah, 7's a proper. It's a full-on chiller. I guess you may call it.
About that one. I'm happy we brought it up because now I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing tomorrow as I'm watching.
So good.
7.
Yeah, so good. So good.
Here's one I got. Do you guys remember the vampire movie Near Dark?
My favorite vampire movie of all time.
Yep.
Bill Paxton, the guy that played Bishop from Aliens, was in
Lance
it.
Henriksen, yeah. Everyone
Great
says
vampire movie, Mel. Go check that out.
My favorite vampire movie ever, and everyone says, "Oh, the bar scene," and the bar scene is phenomenal.
I hate it when they don't shave.
But there's a scene prior to that where there's a young girl at a vending machine, and Homer, who's played by Joshua Miller, he was in Class of 1999. Like, he's a kid, but he's years old, and he just preys on this little girl at the vending machine because she thinks they're the same age as each other. Oh, it's terrifying. It is truly terrifying. Like, obviously the action and the gore and the blood and so on of the bar scene is fantastic, but that scene where you know what he's thinking and you know that she has no idea that it's not a kid. Oh, it gets me every time. It's horrendous. Like, it makes your skin crawl because you know that the next he takes the girl back to his hotel room and they're all waiting there, and she can't be more than 10, 11 years old maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, by far my favorite vampire movie of all time.
And Bill Paxton made a great vampire. He was one of those accomplished actors. Like you could put him in almost any kind of role, and he's going to ace it or knock it out the park.
They did. They did put him in pretty much every type of role. And if we want to talk about Bill Paxton, this is more of a thriller, but the movie Frailty.
Yeah, his directorial debut.
He was amazing in that. Both him and Matthew McConaughey. And that movie is definitely, I can't say it's a cerebral thriller, but the thing is that the way that ends, where
you don't see that coming.
It's one of the best endings of a film I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would agree completely. You don't see that ending coming in Frailty. The only thing I think I've ever seen Bill Paxton in where I was kind of like, was, and it's not his fault. Everyone was terrible in that movie, but it's Predator 2. And everyone was terrible in that movie. So, God bless him. Yeah.
How about comedy horror, like something like Jennifer's Body?
That was just dumb.
I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Ginger Snaps is another, you know what I mean?
I've heard about that.
I've
seen the first
teen horror.
I've seen the first one. I don't know how many of them there are now, but I remember seeing the original Ginger Snaps.
I think Goosebumps is better.
we talked about a few of these a little while ago, but like Idle Hands is another.
Idle Hands is up there.
Me too. Anger Overdose.
Yeah, Idle Hands is a great horror comedy. Night of the Creeps. Night of the Creeps is a horror comedy, I think. To be honest, your dates are here, but they're dead. Thrill me. Atkins, as I said earlier, he's the man. Night of the Creeps, I would say, it's probably horror comedy. But yeah, Idle Hands is so good. Very good.
Chris says anyone likes movies about aliens. The fourth kind of messed me up.
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky was the one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The end of Fire in the last 20 minutes of Fire in the Sky is nightmare
best part
fuel.
Of the whole movie.
Oh, it's nightmare fuel. It really is. Yeah, it really is.
Because that entire movie makes you wonder, just about what alien abduction could really be like.
Yeah, that one sticks out to me, and I think I want to say the McPherson tapes sticks out to me as well, and that's a really low budget found footage one. About a family that get abducted. Yeah, I'm sure it's the McPherson tapes. That sounds familiar. And like you say, Fire in the Sky. The end of Fire in the Sky was nightmare fuel for sure.
If we're talking alien film, of course you got the actual Alien franchise, which we touched upon quite a bit earlier. But there's been some standalone movies that have had some like pretty interesting moments, and there was one that Ryan Reynolds was in called Life.
Life, yeah, I remember it. Yeah, didn't mind. It got a lot of hate, and I'm not quite sure why.
It was decent.
It's an alien rip-off, sure, but it was decent. Yeah, the twist was good at the end, and the effects were pretty cool, and the cast was decent enough, and I didn't mind it.
There's another one. The hell is it called? It's kind of like they're filming Cloverfield. That's what
it is. Yeah, the original was great. The original was great. Yeah,
right.
The original was great. The sequel was very different but very good. I haven't seen the third one. I think it went straight to Netflix.
Yeah, it was. Well, yeah, it wasn't meant to be part of the Cloverfield universe, but because of how close it was, they ended up turning it into the prequel to how Cloverfield happened.
As you do, I guess.
That going to the space station and all that?
What was that?
Was that going to the space station?
Yes. Well, it wasn't really a space. It was like a big spacecraft that was supposed to be fixing something, and it ended up creating a paradox that created the Cloverfield aliens, allowed them to enter our Earth.
Well, since we're in the sci-fi, what about movies that work with like senses, like the Bird Box movie where they can't see the whole movie, or A Quiet Place where they can't talk, they can't.
Quiet Place was cool.
A Quiet Place was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
And the second one was okay as well. To be fair, I didn't mind the second one. I thought it was quite good, but Bird Box was okay, I guess.
I couldn't stand it because idiots took it as a challenge.
Yeah.
Yep. I did not
tell
like
me
where it
that
went.
would not happen. Like, tell me that would not happen in real life. Like,
I'm
of
gonna
course,
drive
some fucking
blindfolded.
people would be stupid. Like, that's just humans. That's just natural
know,
selection.
Open heart surgeon. Oh wait, I gotta do this blindfolded. Call the mortician. Here comes another one.
Well, even A Quiet Place, you think about it, the whole premise of the movie is them not talking and them not moving, not making a sound. So what am I watching, basically? Like, I might as well mute my movie and be like, ow, ow. You know what I mean? Like, it just, I don't know. That one didn't work for me because I'm very ADHD. So if there's not a lot of sound screaming at me, my brain squirrels very fast. So.
Well, the second one got better. There was more to it in that one. I mean, that started everything. But I'm glad they only did 2 and didn't try and make 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah. I think 2 was plenty.
The aliens are pretty cool looking too.
I can't believe it. I just remembered another horror franchise that we haven't even talked about, and that's The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh.
Yeah, that was
the mutant humans.
Yeah, the second one is. Have you seen the second one?
I think the first one was the best.
Oh, yeah. I don't mind the remake, to be honest. I thought the remake was okay. The second one is you have flashbacks from a dog and a lot of people on dune bikes. Wes Craven had no choice but to make it. He was literally broke, bankrupt. People weren't knocking on his door after Last House Had Left and Hills of Eyes, believe it or not. So he finished it because he needed the money. But literally, you have flashbacks from Beauty, I think. The 2 dogs are Beauty and the Beast, weren't they? And I think Beauty lived and Beast didn't. And you have flashbacks from a dog. I'm not making it up. I wish I was. It's horrendous. But the first one was great, and I quite like the remake. To be honest, I thought it was okay.
I agree. The remake was really well done.
Yeah.
How come nobody's mentioned Pumpkinhead yet?
Blood Wings. I don't want to talk about Blood Wings. I really don't want to talk about Pumpkinhead 4, Blood Wings. I think it was, or Pumpkin 3 maybe. The first one was quite cool though. Quite a good movie. Lance Henriksen again.
The first one I think was the best one.
Yeah. There's been talk for years of it being redone, but we've never seen it. I mean, if anything is probably worthy of a reboot, it's Pumpkinhead, I would have thought.
I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, after Bloodwing, I think it was Bloodwing. Anything
I don't even know what it was for.
Oh yeah, there's a good 3 or 4. I'm sure there's 4. There's definitely 3 at least. So, but the first one was fun. It's like the Jeepers Creepers movies, isn't it? Just goes on.
Oh god, those movies went downhill quick.
Yeah.
The first one was great. I haven't really enjoyed any of the others. Second one had some moments, but
the problem with the sequel, problem with the second one is there's not really any peril because it's set before the original movie,
right?
So you know where it's going to end before it gets there. And then the other 2, I've not. Yeah, me too. The other 2, I haven't seen the latest one, but 3 was terrible, and I haven't
Reborn.
seen.
Don't even waste your time.
No,
Reborn was terrible.
Yeah.
People saying that 3 was a masterpiece in comparation, so that's more than enough for me not to give it a go.
They are not wrong.
What do you guys think of Saw? I mean, I've seen pretty much all of them.
Seen them all, I think. Apart from the latest one.
I don't get tired of them. It's just something that
it's just easy, isn't it? It's just an easy watch
or something. But I like watching them. You know?
I think if you're someone who likes seeing creative ways get slashed up in a horror movie, it's good for that. But the very first movie, I think, was by far the best. Because that was a royally mental mind trip right there.
The second
I don't know.
I think the second one's the best.
The second one was fucking, yes.
I think the second one's the best in the franchise. I do.
I think it was the third. So the contraption. So the first Saw was very specific with the cerebral mind games. Like it was like a horror escape room, right? But as they start, what I loved about the Saw movies is they were one for like at least the first 4. There was this continuous story that kept bleeding into one another. And the craziest part was, I want to say it was number 3, yes, 3, where the guy whose kid was killed is playing the game, right? And his whole thing is he has to decide whether or not he wants to forgive the people that took part in the disaster that was the death of his son. And the most just awful moment comes when the guy who ran over his son is in the rack, and he finally decides to save the guy, but he can't quite get the puzzle figured out, and it's just twisting that guy's body in ways that it should not. And then when he finally gets to the head and you know what's about to happen, you hear the neck cracking. Oh my god!
The neck cracking sucked. The worst one for me though is when you see the tibia go.
Oh god!
As you see the tibia go, and like, but I think the second one is probably the best one. People forget he died in part 3, and then we had Costas Mandalore for like 8 movies, and the timelines went like all over the place. Yeah, because he was dead, wasn't he? At the end of the third one.
Yeah, because he saw his neck open. Which killed his wife and his daughter.
But yeah, I think the second one's really good. The needle pit to this day.
Yes.
Yes.
The needle pit's horrendous. But yeah, very good.
Yeah,
I don't mind the full movies.
But old girl with the hands in the box.
Yeah.
Needle pit is, but that remember who Needle Pit girl is later on in the other.
Yes, it's true. The one I didn't have a huge amount of time for was the spin-off. Was it Spiral, the Chris Rock one? It's terrible. Oh, it's terrible. Bad.
Those spoof horror movies are.
Yeah, it was terrible. I haven't seen the latest one yet. I haven't seen Saw X, but I will. I'll pick it up.
The best spoof.
It's still good. I mean, I'm a big fan.
I was gonna say the best spoof has got to be the Scary Movie series.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I still think my favorite scene is in the first one when she like levitates and is like doing like the river dance in midair. And
that's good.
The spoof of Ghostface starts dancing around to it, clapping to it, and he's like, "Wait, no, I'm not supposed to do this."
I think my favorite scene of those, I think it's the third one where they rip off signs, and you've got Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards, and she's pinned to the tree.
Yeah.
And he's going, and he's doing all this stuff with the hot dog, and she's like, "Don't take another lover," and he's like, "What? Pardon?" He's like, "Can't hear."
Go with the Lord. Go with God. Go with God.
I remember that. I think that was the third one. But
for me, I mean, it's Carmen Electra running, and then all her clothes falls off.
Was it one or two to go with the tiny hand?
Yeah, the second one is the guy with the hand.
My strong hand.
Take my strong hand. Yes. With the mashed potatoes.
Oh, disgusting. Yeah, that's what I mean. We all watch this stuff for fun, and that was truly horrifying.
Oh yeah.
So the funniest part for me, I think was it the second or the third one when they were in that house? Which one was that?
Is it the second one?
The one with the bed rolled up shorty and bed sheet and started smoking them like a joint.
Yeah, it's the second one.
Yeah, and he's like, you hit like a bitch.
Yeah, they made a lot of money, these movies. A huge amount of money.
And they kept going, too. That's the scary thing about it. There's a
lot
of them.
I've never watched any horror animes, but I have seen some crazy clips of some. Can I?
Death Note.
Legend of the Overfiend.
Death Note would be, Death Note's
a good one. I absolutely adored Hellsing, and Vampire Hunter D as well.
Yeah. That's my
Death Note. Definitely, Death Note is classic.
Not the Netflix movie, the anime.
Yes.
Yeah. I tried to watch that. It's a bastardized version.
It really is. I finished it because I just have to, but it wasn't. It wasn't fun. It wasn't a fun watch.
I felt like I lost brain cells watching that one.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry, you guys.
Yeah, I felt like that with some things I've watched before.
It's getting close to 3 o'clock in the morning for Mark right now. So.
It's 1:40 a.m. here.
Oh, 2 o'clock, yeah.
So I'm getting up for 2 o'clock,
Okay.
I'm 5 hours ahead of you guys.
I gotta get going myself, but I'm gonna leave it with this. I want to see a crossover like they did with Freddy versus Jason, but I want to see Gremlins versus Critters.
That would be funny.
I think Critters takes that just for pure maliciousness.
They kidnap Gizmo and they're experimenting on him and they bust out the water. Then you got a whole plan going at it.
If we were looking at a crossover, I'd like to see Hellraiser versus Event Horizon.
Ooh.
Because Event Horizon is the best Hellraiser movie never
Gremlins
made.
versus Pokemon.
Yes. No, you're not wrong. You're not
I
wrong.
know, right? No, I know. I stand proudly on that one. Event
Nope.
Horizon is the best Hellraiser sequel that we never got.
You're absolutely correct. If you guys have never seen this movie, this movie is
Terrifying.
absolutely amazing.
It is
as a
terrifying.
standalone film. It is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
The depiction of what the concept of hell could be in this movie is the single most terrifying thing I have ever witnessed on film.
So
and
good.
Sam Neill,
Yeah.
what a performance from
Yeah.
him in that film.
The whole cast
Good
is
lord.
really
Yeah.
good. It's really
I
good.
know.
Yeah, Event Horizon's fantastic.
Crossover
really
for
is.
me would probably be Chucky and Megan, because Tiffany would be a crazy ass bitch.
Chucky,
And I
take
would
her out
love
in
to see
10 minutes.
that. No, like Tiffany.
I've not.
would take,
I've not seen Megan. I'll openly admit I've not seen it. I saw the
Tiffany
trailer
would
and I was
take
like,
Megan out. That's not.
I'll wait till
I
it's
watched
free.
it-
I'll wait till it's free somewhere. Netflix
I watched
or
it
whatever.
because my 13-year-old was like, "Can I watch Megan?" And I was like, "Let me watch it first." You know what I mean? Let me make sure that there's no stupid scenes, or or that I can give you a heads up.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, "You can watch it. Have fun. Your sister can watch it with you." She's like 10, and I was like, "You guys go at, you have it, yeah."
I try to consume as much as possible. There's some stuff you just go, I can wait. There's I will get to it. It'll rock up on Netflix or Amazon or Disney
That's
Plus over here at some point, and I'll watch it then.
That's it.
Um,
And Jason versus Michael Myers versus Leatherface could be good.
The one I was going to choose is similar. I was going to do Hellraiser, but I wanted, because they're two very demonistic universes. Hellraiser versus Pennywise.
Nice. Yeah, that would work. Yeah, for sure. See, there's some those are much better ideas than some of the stuff that comes out.
Right.
Let's be fair. It's true.
Well, that's why
They-
they should listen.
They
to
both
the
have their
fans.
kind of like own dimension, right? So,
Yeah. Well, you
It's
look
why
at
they should listen to fans.
Yeah.
Like, look at Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
He's writing the books, and he's like looking at what people are saying. Oh, if you kill this character, I'm going to be mad.
Okay.
Kills this character.
Exactly. Yeah.
Keep giving me the juice. Like,
It's what I call the misery angle.
If you put more
killed
sex
me.
scenes in there, we're gonna have a problem.
But no, it does. They send out so much stuff, don't they? There's so much horror that's just available all the time, constantly. You can't keep. Say I try to consume so much of it. I mean, I launched my page in March, and I've probably reviewed close to 100 movies, just me. And that's the stuff I've watched to review, not alone other things that I've just watched for fun. Just consume so much of it.
There's so many of them.
There is just so
Candyman.
much. Yeah, there's so much. We were talking about Candyman earlier. Like the sequels are horrendous.
Yes.
The new sequel, the requel, whatever they call it.
Crap.
I didn't mind it to a degree, but only because I just watched it after watching part 2 and part 3, which were absolutely horrendous. If I'd watched it, if I'd given enough time and then watched it, I don't know if I'd have been so forgiving, because it's not brilliant by any means. But after Farewell to the Flesh and Day of the Dead, I would have watched anything, I think.
Still trips me out that there's a Reddit out there that Pennywise and Mary Poppins are the same species. Oh Lord.
I don't know.
two different ends of the spectrum, though, right?
Yeah, it's very true.
I'm not. I think I'm gonna have to find that Reddit and try to see why.
I'd like to see a horror version of Mary Poppins.
That's like Glinda and the Wicked Witch.
I mean, there's a lot of weird horror movies, like the Winnie the Pooh one.
Yeah, I didn't even bother.
I
I
didn't
didn't even bother. I saw the trailer and I was like, this,
Well, they
I'll-
did
I'll-
Hansel and Gretel,
yeah.
and then they did a stoner version.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
the fan film of Luigi falling under the Mario universe and going into like this weird horror Mario universe was actually really cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's on YouTube somewhere. I saw it, and it's actually well done. It's like a fan film, but he like falls into one of those pipes and goes into like this Mario horror dimension.
I might dig that out. I might have to have a look for that. That could be interesting. Obviously, don't forget I know we were talking about earlier, but don't forget the Dylan's New Nightmare, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I have questions about that though, because there's a lot of things that was happening in it that ties into the Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, what a good example is that Freddy only able to come into the real world once they pulled him out of the drain. But in Dylan's New Nightmare, the way he came back, no one pulled him out, and all of a sudden he's coming out from underneath the bed sheet and everything.
Yeah.
He's a trench coat hat, and I'm like, okay, how did he get here?
Well, I think we're going to see another 25-minute slot in the next sort of 18 months or so.
There's so many questions I have about that.
It's so good. It's so well done, but it leaves you wanting more, which is obviously the whole point, but
right.
It's very good. That's obviously very good, and the two Never Hike Alone movies are pretty good.
I've heard a lot of good things about them, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're Friday the 13th fan-made movies. Never Hike Alone 1 and 2, they're pretty good.
to do a better job than the mainstream, because they really
well, they care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're canon.
Yeah. But I certainly won't be reviewing fan films for sure, but there's some decent ones out there. I mean, there's some terrible ones as well. But then when isn't there anything? So
I'm gonna take off, guys. Thanks for having me. Let me join and hang with you tonight.
That's been cool.
See you later, Mike.
Take it easy.
Steady, man. See ya.
Just a spoonful of syrup.
It's like Smile was a mega hit, right? Smile made so much money. Now it wasn't anything we haven't seen before, but it was just done well. The movie that's based on, which is on the Blu-ray, is called Laura Doesn't Sleep Here, or Laura Doesn't Sleep Anymore, made by the same guy. It's what got his foot in the door. It's fantastic. It's like 15 minutes, and the girl in it is then in Smile. And this is where I automatically feel old, because the main actress in Smile is Kevin Bacon's daughter.
Oh, wow.
And you go, wow, I'm old, because she's like in her 20s or whatever she's in that movie. But Smile made so much money, so it just goes to show you don't actually have to make something original as long as you make it well, because it is essentially The Ring. It's that sort of thing, but it made so much money. Like, made an absolute fortune. And things like Megan and The Conjuring and stuff, they just make like Blumhouse must be the most best run studio on the planet. They just everything makes money.
Yep.
Literally, I've got an idea for a movie. Here's $10 million.
Just having their name on your movie, you're
Yeah.
guaranteed that people.
And not all of it's good. A lot of it isn't good at all, to be fair.
Yeah.
But
But they do so well. They're allowed to make mistakes.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Exactly. Yeah. And they don't just say, well, it's one for all. They say, we've got an idea for this movie. Okay, we'll give you $2 million. Someone else says, well, we want to make this. They go, okay, here's $10 million. And if that $10 million investment brings them back 80, no one cares what a $2 million movie made, because it doesn't matter. So between them and A24, they're kind of keeping horror
alive,
financially alive anyway at the moment, for sure. I mean, I haven't seen Megan, but I know it made a bucket load of money.
It did, but
made a truckload of money
because it was friendly for kids too. My
Blumhouse is a PG-13, isn't it? Blumhouse.
Yeah.
And AI is now beginning to scare the crap out of people.
Yes, it's true.
It was the perfect. True. It was also the perfect timing to put that movie out.
Me, AI scares the shit out of me.
But it's even things like Escape Room and the Invisible Man redo and all that sort of stuff. That was all Blumhouse stuff. Fantasy Island, which was terrible, but it made decent money.
It made money, because it's Blumhouse.
They just make money.
Oculus
was Blumhouse, I believe, way back when.
You might be right. Yeah, you might be right about that.
I wouldn't bet my house on it, but I think it's so. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun, guys. I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you for inviting me.
I mean, anytime. Like, I mean, we can go on forever and ever and ever. I mean, we talked all night. We haven't even talked like video games yet.
That's true.
Like, another good movie that came out this weekend is the Five Nights at Freddy's. I haven't seen it yet.
I've not seen it yet.
I went to see it today, so I will be asking her tonight how it was. So.
How did we gloss over Resident Evil?
Well, I mean,
I don't acknowledge
because
these
there is
movies.
so because there is so
That's what I
much-
wanted to talk about.
I acknowledge the video games. I don't acknowledge the movies.
But
Oh yeah,
I-
if they did the video games, well, the movies like the video
Oh.
games.
Well,
I mean,
thought,
RE2 is one of the best horror video games of all time.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I thought we were going to get that with with the Raccoon City movie last year, and then it came out and it was terrible.
I know. I was so like
know.
Leon was there. I was like, come on, let's do
We're
this.
finally getting I've been playing the crap out of the 4 remake. To be honest, like it's phenomenal.
gonna
Seven's my
be-
one. Seven's my one from a
Seven?
horror point of view.
I'm gonna be
Yeah, Biohazard.
expanding the podcast. I'm not gonna stick only to music anymore. That's something I announced already this week because I feel like a lot of people have a lot to say and I think it's interesting. So if you guys would like to do this again,
100%. I'd love
set
to.
this up another night. We can actually like format an episode, you know.
Sure.
Make
Yeah,
sure I've seen the movies we're gonna talk about because you guys are like beating me at this. I'm like I made notes all night long, so I have like a list of horror movies to go watch now. I love
Event
it.
Horizon, and then Event Horizon.
Yeah,
Event
that's,
Horizon. Yeah, Event
Cannot
Horizon,
wait.
man. I'm telling you,
but I
he's
will
right.
make
He's
sure.
right. He's absolutely right. If you have not seen that, you need to see
No,
that.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
it. I'll
so
make
good.
sure to. I put it on top. I just went and just put it
My,
on top of the list.
yeah, it's been reviewed. It got the house treatment a while ago. It's on the page. Oh, stay tuned.
Gio.
Stay tuned. I'm playing Cards Against Humanity.
Gio has his own deck of cards, and his deck of
Ah.
cards is all about the music community, the indie community. It's 92
okay.
cards, and
That's pretty
you
cool.
scan the QR code, and it brings you to their
Yes.
page, and it's amazing.
That's
It's
very
really cool how he set it up. Actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's really
But
cool.
I would love to have you guys back, and whoever wants to join the episode.
For sure. I'd love to. Any time,
And...
by all means. I'd love to be involved.
I will talk horror all day long. I will talk
Same.
film all day long.
Yeah,
I
I'm the
love-
same.
I love it
Yeah.
in general. So
Awesome. We could do
Yeah,
this once a
we-
month thing.
Sure.
sure.
Sounds good. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm the same. I could, I could sit here and talk non-horror movies. I could sit here and talk, I could spend the next 2 hours talking about Goodfellas, easily.
Shawshank
Easily.
Redemption, a bunch of good
Yeah,
movies.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Fight Club. Spend the evening talking about Fight Club.
Right?
It's easily done. But no, 100%. I'd love to be involved. Just keep me in the loop.
Awesome. So we'll set it up. We'll make sure that
Sure.
it's a Saturday night since it's so late for you. It makes it easy on a Saturday
If that's
night.
okay, yeah. I mean, obviously,
Absolutely.
I can always, we can move
Absolutely.
things
I'll
around.
make
But if
sure
that works,
it doesn't interfere with Anger Overdose because Anger also has a podcast. It's one Saturday a month. So,
Okay.
instead of clashing, we're going to work together to not be at the same time. And,
okay, cool. Sounds good.
We'll set it up. But thank you so much, guys, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Thank you for having
please,
me.
you know
Honestly,
that.
it's been great. I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, anytime, guys, and I'll be in touch, and we'll set this up.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good night. Thank
Been
you
an
guys for
guys.
being
absolute
here.
pleasure, Mark.
It's been a pleasure, sir. I really enjoyed myself.
Yes.
Till the
yes,
next time.
Gio. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
everyone. And to you, Gio.
Gio, thank you for being here. Anger and everybody else that was here all night. You guys are fucking rock stars. Much love. Good night, guys.
It's been a
Good night.
blast. See ya.